Oh, the shadow keep pounding still there. Let me take that off. Hello and happy Friday. It's Josh here with On the Wrong Lead, and man, that was definitely an Oaks day. Of all the Oaks days that we've had, that was definitely one of them. Had some really cool stories, some nice race, some chalk, and somehow even with all the chalk, Mark, you didn't make money.
I
How did that
lost a
happen?
lot. I lost a lot of money because I'm a moron. That's why. Yeah.
I mean, like, you don't have to tell us. And actually, I'm going to save you and not bring Brian in next because he probably would have a really, really good zinger for that one. So I'll bring in Caleb here first.
Brian's just like yelling into the void behind the scenes right now.
No, you know what's funny is I think he's actually, I'm giving him time to develop the burn. So it's going to be a little
this
bit
is
more
the problem.
burn.
He's getting the build up going.
Yeah. But Caleb, how was your day?
Not good, but not terrible either. Ended up a little down on the day, but honestly, I just didn't bet as much as I was expecting. Like I was kind of going into the Oaks with a lot more of the bankroll that I set aside for the day left than I expected to have. I was able to kind of get alive in a couple of pick fives and like ride one ticket to the payoff leg a couple of times, but wasn't able to get any of those. Well, I got the cheap one home that paid like $90 for 50 cents. So ultimately, I lost a few bucks, but opinions were good for the most part. Just couldn't quite string 5 in a row together and had a couple of 4 out of 5s that stung a little bit. But overall, not a bad day.
Yeah, I hit that pick 5 too. I hit it 6 times though, so at least it kind of stopped the bleeding a little bit. Yeah, that definitely helps, right? That $90 one, it ended up being like $540 or something, $550. So other than that though, it's pretty uneventful. My 2-day plays are still alive. With the exception of a press ticket I had with Echo Zulu in the double. Brian, have we given you adequate time for the insult towards Mark?
I don't know. I didn't need adequate time. I'm busy over here enjoying rocking New Year's Eve with Ryan Seacrest.
Dude, as soon as
there's no ball dropping, but there's dollars flying, baby.
Dude, it was really funny because just like throughout the day, like Brian would just be posting tickets, and it's like, oh, it's just a $20 win bet. But they were all like 10 to 1s, 12 to 1s. Like he was just chunking couple $100 here and there in win bets. And I actually shout out to our buddy Pump Up the Yams, Putty. He had a $50 win place bet on that 6 horse in that turf race, the Vincent Shomod or whatever horse. Paid $30 to place.
Yep.
So he cashed a cool $750 on a $50 win place bet just with the place money. So did you hit the exact in that race, Brian?
I should have, but no, I didn't play the exact in that race. I don't talk about a lot of horses that like actually handicap and really bring notes on. So the fact that one, I feel great about. Mark comes every week prepared. He has his horse player's Bible. He has the Encyclopedia Britannica to use smart words to make me feel dumb. And then, I wing it, right? So that was a good feeling today to watch that horse come home. It just, it doesn't happen often.
I do feel a little bad for Mark because every time one of us wins, like I feel like the first thing we do is just like be like, hey, Mark, are you still alive? And like kind of like, kind of give him that little look. But yeah.
Quite honestly, if I followed some of Mark's advice, I would have used the 12 in the second leg defensively, and I would have hit that pick 5. I mean, you go 4 out of 5 and 2 pick 5s today. That was a kick in the low, boys. But I thought the chalk was much the best. I didn't want to go 3 wide with a 4 to 5 on the 11, and it cost me.
Yeah, I think Caleb and I, if we would have listened to each other in one race in that early pick 5, we both would have hit very easily. And the worst part is Caleb had the hard horse, that 12. And I had in the next leg, he decided to fade the 8, and I only used the 2 horses in there, and one was the 8. So
and Caleb tradition, I get the 8-1 and 10-1, but I missed the 5-2 with like.
I mean, you guys do realize that if we were smart, the 4 of us would come together occasionally, because we would have hit the pick 6 today. We would have hit 4 pick 5s. We would have had a great day. But we are too damn prideful to use marks defensively. So instead of popping off like a $400 pick 5, we sit here all popping off a $100 pick 5, and we all have a different leg we miss on. It's amazing.
Just taking a look at chat real quick. Looks like Road Warrior gave a substantial donation today. Do you notice, though, he did not mention whether it was at Churchill Downs or Belmont, because I know that man was still betting Belmont today. So, and a couple other, I see our boy DJ Vasquez, the king of the quarter horse over here, saying he finished the day in the positive on to tomorrow. Yeah, like we were saying, So I'm basically even with if you include my live 2-day bets. I think I'm down like $50. Tomorrow's another day. Biggest surprise for me today was the weather. Everybody basically everyone said that we were going to get a ton of rain, and so I had initially capped for sloppy. Some of the stuff, it just didn't happen. We'll see what happens tomorrow now. I think they're still calling for rain tonight into tomorrow. So, yep, and I was right about Road Warrior. He said both. So we lost both.
I was kind of kicking myself. Obviously they got a little bit of a deluge right after the Oaks, and I had a live pick 5 going into the last leg, and I really liked that 5, who was the bomb who won the last leg. I just said, oh geez, the weather it's never going to get here, so I didn't include the horse when you place the wager. But by the time after the Oaks and now it's downpouring, you're like, okay, that's a horse I wish I had coverage to, and happens. And it would have, because that would have I think that late pick 5 paid, I don't know, it was like 30 something grand for the $2, so it would have been $7,500 pick 5 or something.
All right, well, enough lamenting on what could have been. Anything you guys kind of want to highlight? Secret Oath winning the Oaks, and Mark,
I think the two things I noticed the most were I think bias plays, which I would imagine probably carrying tomorrow, and that's I thought dirt speed was very good. You wanted to be within 2 or 3 lengths on the dirt. At basically every call, you did not see deep closers getting there. You did not see anybody coming from off the pace, and the turf was the complete opposite. Every single turf race, the front end came off it, and closers picked up all the pieces. So if those trends hold in tomorrow, and you'll know that for the first couple of races, it definitely means that the back half of the card, you can make. There's some horses that are going to be short that you're going to be able to toss.
Yeah, I thought turf was speed was dead. I've been kind of saying that in some of our private chats for a while. And you can argue the best horses won, but I also think that it's one thing for Bleecker Street to win, but to see where the horses that were on the lead finished, like way up the track after going 50 and change, like to me, that kind of is more indicative of it's the track profile at work. So I thought the turf speed was dead. On the main track, I don't think it was speed favoring. I thought it was fair. We only saw, I think, 2 wire-to-wire winners. One of them was Juju's Map at 2-5. The other one was in the slop after the rain, so maybe the track changed a little bit. I'm going to go into tomorrow kind of thinking it's fair. It's Churchill Downs on Derby Day, so they're going to piss around with the track. So I'm going to be adjusting on the fly a little bit tomorrow. But I probably will put a slant on towards speed, more so just based on the way that history has tended to work at this track on this day. And good for Coach. Was happy to see Secret Oath get the win. That was a nice race there, a nice run. She ran huge. She ran outstanding. Really fun race.
She moved earlier than I thought she was going to move. Honestly, she pulled up to that second flight of horses in the middle of the turn. I thought maybe that's when they're going to begin their move, and I don't know if they got the jump in the rest of the field or what. But that was a very well timed, good strategic ride for her.
Yeah, she was wide too. Lost a lot of ground. I think she was much the best there. A couple of horses didn't get good trips, but I think she was definitely the best horse in the field.
Yeah, but the Chad horse had a ton of traffic problems. I think she's bet backable, or a bet back off that. That was the 4.
Yeah, Stephen Fox saying that it looked like the only horse that really made up ground was the filly 8, and who was much the best. So I don't know which horse is he talking about.
The Philly 8.
Is that Matarea, the big?
Oh
cross-
yeah, yeah. That's what
And
you're
she
talking about.
wasn't that far off from it. She was one that was probably within 3 lengths. No, she wasn't on the lead, but she clearly was not, wasn't a closer that was 10 off or something.
It's funny because
that last race completely melted, but it didn't melt per se. But the closers,
Right.
But after the rain, the track kind of changed.
That was a stagger fest in the lane. Everybody was done, and that you had that 5 with the Tomlinsons just seemed to be skipping across it. So,
all right. Well, why don't we kind of move on here? We got a lot to cover. We're gonna try and get through 6 races here. We're gonna start here with the Pat Day Mile. We're gonna be going. I should probably actually use my captions here. Race 7 here, the Grade 2 Pat Day Mile. We're gonna be going a mile in the dirt for 3-year-olds, and we got a very interesting field here. We got your installed as a 2-to-1 favorite here, Jack Christopher, coming off the long layoff. Originally was thought to be on the Derby Trail and quickly taken off due to an injury. Didn't run in the BC Juvenile, and they picked a pretty salty spot, I think, to come back with some horses who have some more established run lines. But I thought it is definitely a worthy 2-to-1 favorite here. Caleb, since this was your request, I want you to kick us off here. What did you like here in this race?
Yeah, so this is a race I'm probably going to lose some money. I kind of wish Jack Christopher wasn't here because he is a horse that I respect a lot. He is, a monster if he shows up, even the same horse as he was at 2. But there is a horse in here that I have been waiting to bet in this exact spot for like 3 months, and that is the number 8 Cavad. I don't know. But I have been watching, doing these Derby prep races with Capone, watching all of these races at Oaklawn, in the Smarty Jones, and in the Southwest, the Rebel, the Arkansas. Like 3 months ago, I said, this is a really nice colt. I can't wait to bet him in the Pat Day Mile. And, instead of listening to me, Chris Hartman decides to stretch him out repeatedly further and further in each start, and he continues to finish worse and worse. But I think this horse is a really, really nice one-turn miler, maybe even a sprinter, 7 furlongs. But I really think this horse is going to absolutely love a one-turn mile. I mean, if you look at the form, it's really improved since he switched into the Chris Hartman barn. And if you kind of look at some of those races at Oaklawn, I mean, if you look at him on time form, essentially every race he's been in has red color-coded fractions, indicating the pace was very quick. If you look at the horses that sort of finished around him, Cyberknife, Secret Oath, Uno Ho, Ethereal Road, Barber Road, Ben Diesel. These are all one-run closers. That's kind of lets you know that these races have repeatedly melted, fallen apart, and gone to horses that are coming from way off the pace. Cavad is routinely the best of the speeds in those races. There is other speed in here, especially if Jack Christopher decides he wants the lead. It could get kind of tricky, depending what Major General does. I mean, that could get kind of tricky. But I've been waiting way too long to get Cavad into this spot, specifically this spot, and I will have significant money going through him tomorrow.
Hey, question for you, because I looked at that horse after today's Oaks race and the Secret Oath effort. Are you going to move Cavad up even further because of that Arkansas Derby effort and say, okay, the Arkansas Derby winner came back and won the Oaks? Do you move up Barber Road and Cavad at this point off of that?
Well, I'll move up Cavad because it fits my narrative.
I'm just asking because it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people will do that. They'll see a horse go back and win.
I think there's, and we can touch on this in the Derby, but I think there's a sentiment that the Arkansas preps weren't very good this year, and I think that Secret Oath coming out to run as well as she did in the Oaks maybe makes you take a second look at some of those runners. So yeah, I mean, especially in this race, I think you would upgrade, Cavad, just given the lack of any true standouts besides Jack Christopher. In the Derby, I mean, it's probably a little tougher because it's a 20-horse field, and some of those horses are going to be 40 and 50 to 1. But, I wouldn't talk anybody off of trying to upgrade them or at least get them into your trifectas or supers.
All right, Brian, since you jumped in there, what are you thinking here?
Man, I'm not a big fan of this race. I'll be completely honest. You know, when I look at it, it's one of those races that shows a lot of speed. We saw how the track played today. You want to be forwardly placed, you know. But do I really want to take Jack Christopher on a 217-day layoff? I do not. You know, I'll let Mark do that because the horse is 2-1. I'm thinking,
And Road Warrior.
well, you know, that's not fair. We like Road Warrior. Mark, we're not sure about.
To be fair, Mark faded 2 chalks today, like
did.
totally faded, and it absolutely ruined his tickets. But I'm proud of him anyway.
He took a
Proud
stand.
of Mark.
ITP would be proud. Mark took a stand. You know, and in all fairness, Mark, if you were right, you'd have been happy as crap. So I mean,
If I was right, that pick 6 would have, instead of paying 20, whatever it paid, $2,300, it would have probably paid, add a 0 to that. So
Yeah.
oh, 23.50, nice. All right, so you know, I agree with Caleb. I thought Cavada was very interesting here. That's why I chimed in, because after watching the race today, I thought I had to move Cavada up a little bit. My concern with Cavada is the cut back to 8 from 8.5 enough of a cutback. You know, that this is a horse that was forwardly placed, tends to not finish well. Is this a horse that wants to go 7? You know, I like the cutback. At least they're finally cutting the horse back, so I can completely understand 21 morning line. You know, at that price, you're going to take a gamble there. But the horse that I kind of like, that should be forwardly placed, that isn't Jack Christopher, is the 3 Papa Cap. You know, I hate to say it because I think I took Papa Cap in the Florida Derby when there's just nothing going on. This is a horse that hasn't won, and I have no reason to take this horse other than run style. I think the horse can sit, right off of Cavad or right next to Jack Christopher and Cavad. However it works out. If Pratt, who's been riding really well, is patient and smart, I think he can sit a pocket trip and then come home with it. You know, the problem is at 6-1, I'm not sure if I want to take a horse that, finished 8th in the Risen Star, which, wasn't that great, and then finished 4th in the Florida Derby, which, depending on who you listen to, those figures are light. So it's one of those things that at 6-1, a forwardly placed horse, based on today, I'm going to land on the 3 just because of run style.
I did want to point out Road Warrior in the chat also likes Papa Cap. He likes Papa Cap in this race. Been in great class. Turn back. Someone who's not stupid on his back.
See, he says great class. So he's not downgrading the Lecomte or the Risen Star, which, for the fairground preps, we're okay, but this horse didn't look that great. And with Jack Christopher here, is this horse getting the relief that he may need? That's the concern I have. But at 6-1, it's a valid price to gamble on.
So, Mark, you clearly are singling Jack Christopher in this spot.
Yeah, I'll be singling Jack Christopher.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, right? If Jack Christopher is right and he runs back to either of his 2 prior starts, he destroys this field. There's nobody in here that can go with him. I mean, he is just towers above this field, right? So do we really have to? I mean, I don't want to try to reinvent the wheel. I'll take the free square.
But you're putting a lot of faith in. I mean, yesterday I said Chad Brown.
I'm putting faith in Chad Brown off a long layoff. Yeah, I put faith in Chad Brown off a long layoff. Yes, I do.
All right. Maybe I'll use the chalk defensively. Shout out, keep pounding Mark.
Yeah, I didn't really look at the 3 Cherry Horse, which is surprising. I missed this somehow, but Jack Christopher, I have too big of a question mark with Jack Christopher to feel comfortable singling, which leads me to more the toss territory.
Good answer.
I mean, I kind of thought the 1 Major General was pretty interesting. Ran well. The Iroquois going, routing. I mean, really, if you just throw out that Tampa Derby, I mean, his races look pretty good. I mean, Tawny Port's a nice horse, and I mean, I know that Tawny Port's also a turf horse, so maybe you downgrade that a little bit. But horse has been in good form. It's just got that one race you kind of got to cross through that he kind of stumbled at the start, and I thought Major General fit here and has at least got a couple of runs this year. So I think he's a little bit more of a known quantity. I mean, Jack Christopher could just run them off their feet here as well. I don't know. I just have a hard time with that long of a layoff. Just with other horses who have developed. I mean, really, Jack Christopher beat Wit and Command Performance, and mind you, everyone's beat Command Performance since he's still a maiden. So, just I don't know. There's not enough there for me to take a short price. But I mean, we've seen this before, right? This horse that is really lightly raised shows up and just runs everyone's eyeballs out. But I'm going to stick with the 1 here. I did make a note, obviously, a 3 cherry note here on this 8. So we'll we'll see. We'll see how it kind of comes up. One horse I did want to talk about real quick, and I think Brian, maybe you mentioned this. Did you mention this horse when we pre-show my prankster here, the 11?
Yeah. You want me to circle back, or you want to talk about it first?
No, I thought if we get a ton of rain, I thought the 11 made a ton of sense. Mark, I don't know if how his Tommies look on DRF, but I thought the 11 the 11's ran some really nice races, nice figures on the slop. Lost to, is it Nakatomi? Is it Nakatomi or is it Nakatomi Plaza? I don't remember if it's the full name or not. But lost to Nakatomi, and then lost to Lafayette to the Delta Downshipper, Old Homestead there. But into Mischief, going to Miles, going to hit him straight in, right in the eyes. So
that's the concern I had, is Old Homestead. This horse lost to Old Homestead as the chalk. He finished out of the money to a 10-1, a 14-1, a 26-1. I mean, 4-1 in the morning line. You're paying for Todd Pletcher, and I don't know if this horse is coming in on form. I mean, I hate to say it, but who beat him at Keeneland and Lafayette? That's
I think it was
horrible.
2 Louisiana breds, actually.
You know what I mean? So I've got a downgrade there. If this horse was 10-1, I'm all over it. 4-1, I think you're going to pay the price for Luis and Todd, and I don't want to.
I'm with you.
Fair enough. One thing I did want to note real quick on your 8, Caleb. Oak Lawn's a 2-turn mile, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like you take away all those 2-turn races. I mean, the form looks a lot better. So, that's just kind of one thing I wanted to note. I did see Mr. Wilkie here. He said the 9's a little interesting for him. Trafalgar, for Al Stahl and Colby Hernandez. He was off to a really hot start last year as a 2-year-old. Ran second in the Classic Causeway maiden race. Came back and broke his maiden. Won a nice little race at Fairgrounds as a short price favorite, and I don't know. I think he kind of just ran up to it with some of this, this big step up in class. I think maybe he gets a little bit of class relief here? Question mark. I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to say, DJ Vasquez mentioned he's playing just the 10 and the 11, and I did think the 10 was actually pretty interesting in this sort of a spot. Obviously they're trying to go a little too far in the Arkansas Derby. I think cutback probably helps this one. And obviously a lot of these that got Derby fever and are going back to probably more realistic distance spots. And the works on Doppelganger were absolutely phenomenal going into this. So.
Doppelganger's not the turf horse. What's the turf horse? Blackadder, right?
Blackadder.
Yeah,
Blackadder's the turf horse. Yeah.
Now, see, Doppelganger's a horse I'd also move up. I just talked about moving a horse down because of who he faced. I mean, this horse is lost to the Oaks winner, and then 2 horses there in the Derby tomorrow.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's finally gets.
He's been keeping some. He's been keeping some pretty good company. Now, I don't really know if this is necessarily class relief because Jack Christopher's in here and he's pretty goddamn good. But I did think Doppelganger was kind of interesting in this spot.
And we beat the hell out of this horse.
Before we move on, Stephen Fox had one question. Do we feel Pat Day Mile seems to produce more prices or chalk traditionally? A lot of Derby rejects who should never be going 9 furlongs. And I think he means 10 furlongs, but...
Well, I think he means non-furlongs out of the prep that don't make the gate for the Derby. But I would say prices. I mean, I know Funny Duck sticks out in all of our minds, but on the whole, I would say it's generally a race that you do get a lot of these, Derby washout kind of horses that come in here, but you also have horses, like Jack Christopher, who are very clearly pointed to this race. And, sometimes you have horses that, maybe have bad form going too far. They get the cut back and all of a sudden the light bulb goes off. So I think it tends to produce some value, especially when you have a horse like Jack Christopher in here, he's the best horse if he shows up, but there's certainly some question marks.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody talked about Captain on the outside. I mean, this horse was he was on the Florida Trail, which, I think Josh, was it you who liked the horses going through Florida because of the history of the Florida preps?
Yep.
I mean, it's an interesting horse. It's just, being way out there and, gets a better trip with Tyler aboard. Maybe at a huge price gets a piece of the trifecta. But
sorry, my Uber Eats order was missing a part, so I'm was requesting a refund.
Popeyes?
Huh? No, it was not Popeyes. It was actually a Mediterranean place. We order from there all the time. This is the first time we've ever had an issue. So
yeah, Captain, probably not for me, Brian, but I could see him hitting the board. I'll say that much.
All right. Once we start talking about horses that are going to hit the board in the Pathé Mile, it's time to move on.
Sorry, I spilled simple syrup all over my hand, and you guys know that stays with you for like an hour, so I had to go wash up.
Oh, that's funny. Let's go take a look at race 8, Derby City Distaff. We did have a defection in this race. Lady Rocket, as far as we know, is scratched. I did have to double check. Because I was looking at this race and I was trying to, as soon as speed started being good, I was starting to go back through tomorrow's card and see how it looks. But we got a field of 8 with the scratch. We only got 7. We got some big names in here, and Bell's the One, and Kamari, Obligatory, 4 Graces, who's never been the same since that race last year around this time. But got some interesting horses in this race. With the scratch of Lady Rocket, looks like your morning line favorite is going to be the 2 Just One Time. I like Just One Time in this spot. I thought that was a pretty impressive race last out at Keeneland. Kind of came from a really weird because what was it? Was it at GP? Was it the Inside Information or the Madison where we're kind of just like, this horse was like privately purchased and was running at Penn? Like, are we sure that this is like a real, like, are those figs real? Is this a real horse? But has seemed to back it up both times. I don't know how the buyer or time form look on this horse, but the horse is put into improving Brisnet figs, and I think this horse pairs whatever she was able to do in the Keeneland race, and I think that she's going to be very, very tough to beat in this spot. Mark, what are you thinking here?
I think that just to counter your point, I think Just One Time is probably a toss for me at this point. I think she's just going to have way too much to do in the lane. That race, that Madison at Keeneland, absolutely came apart at the seams, and she picked up the pieces. She was the best of the closers, and did it on a sloppy track, which probably moves up that figure. So it does not look like we're going to get a lot of rain overnight. I expect it to be fast and firm-ish tomorrow. And I just don't like Just One Time here. She needs to improve quite a bit again to beat somebody like Kamari. I think Kamari is the horse that I want the most of. And I also think this race with Lady Rocket coming out of it, the pace complexion got really murky. Like, I don't know what they do here pace-wise. And so because of that, I think I also want to add in some Edgeway. I think Edgeway probably ends up, Kamari's probably my lone B, and I probably have, lone A, and Edgeway probably becomes my lone B in here. Edgeway should be speed of the speeds. You should get all sorts of loose. And if the likes of Kamari don't want to press Edgeway and she can get a little comfortable on the front end, she's won 2 in a row. She seems to be in really good form right now. And she's had some real good works coming into this. I think Edgeway is super interesting in here.
Yeah, I definitely think that with the scratch of Lady Rocket, I didn't want to start waxing poetic about two horses there, but I'm using two horses in this
I
race
plan on doing
only.
it all night, so
Yeah,
go
I'm
ahead,
only
Josh.
using two horses. I'm using the 2. I'm using the 7 Edgeway. I think Edgeway is going to have a huge pace advantage here. Nick Feldman agreeing, says the top pick is Edgeway. I was more impressed with Nick hitting 4 supers today. So he had a day, especially with that $1 base. Ben Wilkie is agreeing with you. He thinks Kamari is probably the easiest single on the card tomorrow.
So I'm really bummed that Lady Rocket's scratching out of this spot because I really liked her here and I was really interested in betting her here. And she scratches out. Pace complexion gets super murky. And now all of a sudden I feel I just don't like this race as much now.
I don't inherently disagree with Mark, but can we just take a moment to recognize that he said Just One Time needs to improve to beat Kamari when she beat her by 4 lengths last time out?
Yeah, when Kamari was on the lead, when Kamari Kamari hooks up, goes in a speed duel, and the whole race comes apart. And that I don't think that happens again tomorrow. It's a very different race complexion than it was in the previous race. I think Just One Time needs a setup, needs the front end to come off the race, and don't see it happening again.
No, I generally agree with you. I just think that sounds funny. Just One Time is the horse that I probably have absolutely no clue about more than any other horse on the entire card. I mean, this horse was a leader for the first 5 starts. Granted at Penn National, but still, sub 22 speed, and then all of a sudden goes into Brad Cox's barn and becomes a 1-run closer. I mean, now you get Pratt sticks on. I mean, I don't know what to do with this horse. The time forward figs aren't very fast. The Thoroughgraph, Brisnet, and other figs are very fast. I don't have a clue what to do with Just One Time. I agree with Mark. The pace got kind of murky when Lady Rocket scratched. I wasn't going to use Edgeway anywhere, but now I sort of feel like I need to use her a little bit.
Yep.
I do like Kamari as well. I think she was the best of the horses involved in that speed duel in Madison, kind of like Mark said. The horse that no one's going to talk about and is going to be an absolutely huge price that I'm going to have somewhere is the number 3 Center Isle. And I think everyone's going to see that last race and just totally draw a line through her. And if you look at this horse on time form, she's not fast enough to win. I mean, not even close. But I was kind of skeptical because that fig just seems too low. So I went back and on Briz, Bayer, and Thoroughgraph, that race in the Sugar Swirl at Gulfstream is good enough to win this race. I mean, it puts her right in the mix at the very least. And she also kind of stumbled out of the gate that day. Rushed up and then still was able to win over Frank's Rocket, who's a graded stakes winner in her own right. She was coming in off a 3-race win streak before going to the Madison last out. And then she once again blew the break, came out last in the mud, and that was pretty much it for her. She's not a horse that's going to do very, good running when she's inside of other horses, taking muddy kickback and, missing the break. She kind of whiffed the break twice in a row now, so that is a concern. But this is a horse that I think it's totally overlooked and wouldn't surprise me to see her on the lead. I mean, Tyler's running well. She has speed. And there's no real clear-cut leader in here with the exception of maybe Edgeway. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Center Isle get ridden aggressively. And if the track's playing to speed, she might steal this. It's a stretch, but I'm going to have her on some tickets.
Oh, no, Brian. Caleb, who took your horse, Caleb or somebody else?
Well, Caleb talked twice. Mark talked twice. You polled the audience, and now I get to go in a 6-horse race. I got no opinion.
Who do you agree with?
Nobody.
You didn't like anybody in this race?
I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm the only one that cashed a ticket today. I'm not going to give Mark a winner.
Steven saying, fuck Frank's Rocket. No one likes that horse.
I thought we were a family show.
By
the way, Mark's not right.
Mark's not right? So you like the 2?
Oh, no, I don't like the 2 either. I just want to
say Mark's
not. I just want to say Mark's not right.
And who do you like, Brian?
Who's CJL riding?
You going in Bell's the One? I'm assuming he's riding Bell's the One. Yeah.
Yep. Just because
took a minute to figure out who CJL was.
With Lady Rocket scratching out, I mean the 4, the 7, the 3, they're all going to go. If anything's going to melt tomorrow, this is the race that should melt. That's all I got.
All right.
I keep bashing Mark in private chat.
Nick saying that he fades or he plays against Bells when she's at 7 furlongs. She's way better at 6, so he's gonna be
Agreed.
against here.
Completely agreed.
But Ben does, or Shampow's over here saying that Bells probably beats just one time last out with the better ride.
See,
But
and how many times does Nick and Mark agree? I'm telling you, they might really be the same person.
I mean, they both are. They got the shaved head thing going, so and the little beard thing. So, maybe it's just like his other side. Like we only see the one side of Mark. You turn this way, and it's Nick Feldman. I don't know.
God, can we see the other side? I'm tired of staring at this bald side.
Let's move on to race 9 here, the Grade 2 American Turf, mile and 16th on the turf for the 3-year-olds. Looks like we got oh my God. Yeah, these are some huge fields. Field of 11 here. Looks like your favorite is going to be Side Dog at 7-2. Portfolio Company at 9-2 for Chad Brown. Then you get Main Event, Balnikov, and Coinage, and you start getting into the double digits here. So, Brian, who do you like here?
I don't want to go.
Oh, yeah, you're going first. Who do you like here?
Who does Mark not like? Hold on.
You're going to have a hard time with that one.
Mark's gonna like everybody here.
No. Mark's going to be on the 8. That seems like the horse Mark's going to like. As you guys know, I used nothing but optics today. That's probably why I cashed winners, Mark. So with that being said, I'm going to take the 1 here, Smoking Tea. For a turf race that should be highly contended, the speed figures don't come back all that great from the 1, but it fits the race shape, if you will. I like Velasquez here. And I got nothing smart to say. It just, if you guys saw this plot, you see this giant square in the middle of the plot. And I can't ignore it. I can't even see 4 horses because the 1's so big. So I mean, I wish I had something smart to say, but I mean, I should show you guys how big this plot is. It's scary.
Well, we'll have to ask Emily one of these days if we can use some of their stuff for our stream, because I honestly like for tournaments and stuff, I love it. It just gives you a different perspective. It helps you find prices that get a little bit of a pace advantage. And at least like for me, it's like super quick and easy to process. It's a little too easy sometimes in that, like, and I know Caleb said that. I think Caleb also said the same thing. Like sometimes he'll look at it and then he'll just like be like, all right, like he'll make up his opinion before he looks at the PPs, and it can kind of mess things up a little bit. So if I use it, I generally use it for tournaments or looking for long shots. But I love optics. So
let me ask you a question though. How do you feel going from Castellano to Velasquez? I mean, similar Hall of Fame type.
I think it's an upgrade.
Is it an upgrade at this point?
On a turf route, I would say this is an upgrade. Yes.
Okay, so even better then. Thank you.
This year for sure. I don't think JJ has been the same in like the past like 10, 12 months.
You realize he's winning at 30% in New York right now, right?
Well, yeah, and who's there in New York? He's beating Manny Franco 30% of the time.
He's beating Manny Franco and Jose Ortiz.
And Luis Cardenas, and
Gomez is riding real well.
Jacqueline Davis,
Skylar Spanabel. No, who's the Allison Morrison? Who's the is that Ben Hernandez? Yeah.
Ben Wilkie.
Ben Wilkie. Yeah, get him out there. Get him out there on a horse. All right, Caleb, who you like in this race?
Yeah, I don't really have any good opinions in here. This is like my least favorite race on the Derby undercard every single year, because I just feel like there's never a standout. There's almost never a horse I'm excited about. Like, I would love to see Tiz the Bomb in this race. He'd be probably 9-5, and I would feel real good about him. But instead, you get all these kind of also rans, and I don't know. I guess I agree with Brian, actually. I like the 1. My opinion when I initially capped this has changed, because I think that the speed is not good on the turf. So I kind of liked, I don't know how you say it, the 11 horse a little bit.
The Wozniak.
Yeah. But with speed being bad, I'm going to toss that horse. Same thing with tossing the 2 with speed being bad. I don't want any part of main event. the horse I did like was similar to Nick Feldman, I guess, which was the 7 side dog. It kind of feels boring taking a favorite in here. I don't know if he'll be the favorite or how much a favorite he'll really be. But the horse is undefeated. He beat a good group last time. He has the right run style here. He handles a bit of a softer track like he did in the Transylvania. So I like side dog in here, but I will also have a lot of Brian's 1. This is a race I'm going to have some spread.
Oh wait, sorry, I don't know what that was.
That's the 3-time winner of the American Turf.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I kind of had the same feeling as you, Caleb. And when I tend to not have like a real strong opinion, I usually tend to hold my nose and just try and single somebody. I think Side Dog is that horse. I mean, he looks really good, undefeated. The way that the track was playing today with closers on the turf. I mean, I just think that run style and everything, and I do think that there is a little bit of speed in here. If you kind of look down at the Kieran and the run style here, you got an E8, you got an E7, you got a couple you got an EP6, EP7. So looks like you're going to have a little bit of a contested pace in this spot. So I was a little interested in the speed horses, but depending on how things turn out, depending on if we get some late scratches or something, if I need a cut, this is going to be the race I cut, and I think I just single the 7 Side Dog because I just think run style and just form just seems to really fit here, and makes a ton of sense. You're getting IRAD for Grand Motion. I don't know. It's not pretty, or it's not. There's nothing cute here. It's just. I think this is the best horse, best connections, and it's got the right run style. So, Mark, what do you think? Oh, go ahead, Brian.
How's the 8 look on time form or DRF buyer? Because on the optics speed figures for this price, the 8 actually shows just as fast as the 7 at a much shorter price.
Pretty darn good, Brian.
I mean, at Turfway in the stakes, I was a little like, meh. But you look back at the Kitten Show, I was like, man, this horse is 15-1. This is ridiculous, right?
I think that 3 back figure is the highest time form fig in the field.
Yeah.
I will just say that Gulfstream was timing the races with a sundial all winter. So I'd be a little skeptical. Even time form has the T annotation on pretty much all their figs from Gulfstream this year on the turf, especially. So it might be legitimate. I'm not against the 8, but just something to be aware of.
Mark, so now you can talk about your 7 horses that you have. If people want very in-depth analysis, they can always check him out on the podcast he did with Chase this week. The Notorious OTB.
The Notorious OTB.
Great.
Yeah, on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I listened to it on my way home. You guys did a good job. So what do you? I know you were a big fan of Side Dog, but anything else you really wanted to add here?
Hey, Josh, let me just add real quick, Josh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mark's pressure.
I'm just having fun. It's the OTB feeling. It's the Derby weekend. I'm excited, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I ended up 267 on top here. 2 would be my top choice. George Weaver is not a trainer who is known to ship a ton. Obviously, he overwinters in Florida, ships him to New York. This horse he could have run at a stakes at Belmont and gotten a win, gotten the money. There are tons of options for him there. When he throws Jose Ortiz up, he happens to be a 44% trainer. So Jose gets all the best of George Weaver, and this is the horse of the 3 most likely winners that probably gets the most ignored on the board. I realize, for what Caleb said, this horse is probably a little more forwardly placed than I necessarily want, but I think the talent is probably there. Horse has been improving, and that Cutler Bay is as good of a race as anybody else in this field has run. So I thought main event made a ton of sense here, especially if I can get that 5-1 price.
Without explaining or adding any comments, is anybody else interested in the 9? Just yes or
yes.
No? Okay.
Yes.
No.
It's like an opposite. What's the opposite of a 3 cherry horse? Like a 0 grapes horse or something? That's what this horse would be.
Yeah, 1.5 acorns.
Yeah, it's those dried cherries that you get in like your salad or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait, so if Stolen Base is a 3 acorn horse, how many acorns is Side Dog? Sidedog's going to be the last of the field, right? Like, I mean, he's
No,
I
Nine will
thought,
be in a different zip code than the 7, I think.
yeah, I think the 9's the last one, and the 3's in between the 7 and the 9.
Okay.
All 3 will be in the rear.
Oh yeah. But again, there's not a lot of speed here, but it should be a contended race, right? I mean, these horses don't go quick, but you're going to have 4 horses within a length of each other at the first call, so it could be interesting.
And was there anybody have any interest in this 11 horse at all?
A touch.
Before today, yes. After today, no.
Yeah, again, yeah, that's probably my take as well. After today, probably not. But this horse should get super loose, and this horse is the definition of an every other form cycle as well. This should be the every. So you might get a huge one here. But with how the track was playing, it has a lot gonna have to get super brave on the front end. And you have to trust Jimmy Graham of all people to slow this down. And I just think he's not the jock. If Jose Ortiz was on this horse, I would be all over it, because he's a guy who, somebody I say as a Jose Ortiz, somebody who's really good and can be tactical and really slow that pace down. I just don't trust Jimmy Graham to do that.
If you've been watching Churchill, Jimmy Graham's not riding really well right now. He rode great in 2021. He's had a rough start to the Churchill meet. Tom Amos might be one of the best placing trainers in the country. When he ships a horse, when he places a horse, he puts them there. They're usually pretty alive, and most of his horse
wasn't like 0 for $1 billion at Keeneland. He was like 0 for like 40 or something.
Yeah. Right. Well, you don't ship into Keeneland. He brings them in a van.
Okay.
I'm just saying, when his horses go, his horses are forwardly placed, and that's their style. You watch them come through Horseshoe, Indianapolis, Grand. You watch him come through, like Turfway. He's usually forwardly placed with his horses, and that's all they know. So I think you're spot on. I think if Jimmy Graham goes nuts or James Graham goes nuts, it's no shot in finishing here.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen Jimmy Graham put some nice rides on horses on the front end, notably with 2 Emmys, both at the Starbucks 600K and the what was the Keeneland race that he won
in the fall?
No, in just a couple weeks ago, right? Didn't 2 Emmys win a race a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think I trust Jimmy Graham much more on the turf than I do on the dirt, but
I think he's a good front riding jockey. I just don't think that I just don't think speed's going to be good.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt when I started looking at it. I was interested. I was more interested in the 2-horse main event on the front end, because he has sat just off a little bit, so I don't think he'll have a problem letting the horse go. Like he doesn't absolutely need to lead. But
hey, I gotta know why the rookie in chat, Clinton Parks, likes the 5. I have to know.
The 5, he likes the 5, the 6, and the 7. I'm guessing Road Warrior also likes the 6. I don't know. There's something about the 6 just sticks out. But the 5 horse,
the 6 makes a lot of sense. And if you use optics, I mean the 5 makes some sense. I'm just curious because
the 5 is another one that if any other jockey was up on that horse, like legitimately any other jockey.
I just noticed this. Someone pointed this out on chat. Got a little Bernardini on top on the 2.
I also I specifically asked our good friend Murphy about that horse in chat a day or 2 ago.
Looks like Nick saying if you watch main events race 2 back, he should have won that. If I remember correctly, he kind of had some trouble staying clean down the lane, and Coinage held on.
He did.
Yeah, Coinage was another horse I kind of looked at, but I just think that he won that one at Palm Beach, and then faced better in the Transylvania, and couldn't really hold on, and that was a pretty slow pace. Yeah. So I don't think really had any excuse in that race. But
main events can be part of what should be a contended early pace, right? I mean,
that's how I see it, Brian. I'm surprised they're like, oh, he can sit. I'm like, yeah, by like a neck, but I mean, inside draw doesn't do him any favors. I won't have him anywhere.
Yeah, but this isn't 2 weeks from now. This is all the New York jocks in town. So a contested pace could be, them being 4 wide, going 26 in the quarter. So
Yeah, but you've got Manny Franco on the 5, who probably has to be forwardly placed to have a shot here. So, if Manny does Manny, I mean, he'll be in the 9 path and he'll run like a 22 quarter.
yeah, Ben Wilkie says he knows everyone's rushing into the windows to bet Manny on this 5.
Yeah, you know my philosophy on California turf horses. Although this is really a European turf horse, so if it wasn't Manny, I'd probably bet this horse. But I'm with, Shams.
Yeah, Clinton saying the horse shipped from SA, last speed 90-99, pace off the turn, finished plus entire race. He was closing, so kind of taking an off the pace horse here. Who do you get beaten by? Do you recognize that horse, Caleb?
I mean, it looks like Sumter, and he beat Handy Dandy. I don't recognize either of them though.
Okay.
Buliknikov in the single tree.
I mean, just pulling up the time form real quick. It looks like that
Sumter and
only
Handy
one
Dandy.
horse came back to race again out of that. And
Okay.
it was the 4th place horse that ran 4th, so not too much there.
Okay.
But Sumter looks like a nice horse. Won 3 in a row.
Yeah, and if the note is right on that 5, that figure may be a little bit light even. Said miss the break, which is very common for a lot of European horses first start. They're not used to having somebody in the gate with them in the U.S. after a few starts. So, they normally kind of figure that out after the second start. So maybe the better start, horse more involved.
Yeah, well, we're going to move on here, but I do have to point out Ryan Howard saying, I hope you guys had a big day, unfortunately.
Why is it unfortunately? Why do you unfortunately hope we have a big day?
Oh, okay. Now that the second sentence is there, unfortunately, I picked Kentucky Derby week to switch jobs. It's like, wait a second. You hope
That's
we
some
had
like backhanded
a good
shade
day.
there, Ryan. But no, I get it.
Can we introduce Ryan to commas? Ryan,
Dude, punctuation is hard. It's really hard.
Dude, poor Greg, our boy Murphy. He's on a cruise right now, and he decided to book a cruise Kentucky Derby weekend. We were talking. He's like, "Wait, that's Kentucky Derby weekend?" And we're like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm not going to be on a cruise." I guess he obviously doesn't know how to read a calendar, but
in all fairness, they've only ran the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday of May for 1 year now.
That's
2
true.
years, 2 years ago it was in the fall, so Greg's just confused.
Yeah, he is, and it's easy to confuse him as well. But his flight got changed on him, and but luckily he was able to get there. He's on the boat. He sent us video or photographic proof, and hopefully the Wi-Fi works for him tomorrow. So, race 10, the Grade 1 Churchill Downs, 7 furlongs on the dirt for 4-year-olds. You got the reigning BC Sprint champ Aloha West in here. You got Jackie's Warrior at 5-2, Reinvestment Risk, Mind Control. You got some big names. Cezanne, who apparently is now in Todd Pletcher's barn. So I don't know. This is a pretty competitive field of 8 here. Caleb, where did you kind of land on this one?
Honestly, dude, like this race gave me like a little bit of PTSD. Because I feel like I'm looking at the Breeders' Cup Sprint again.
You should have your head on.
And I'm just like, oh man, Jackie's Warrior is a single. Like he's faster than everybody in here. He's quite potentially the lone speed in here. It's like, I mean, I don't really get how Jackie's Warrior can get beaten here. And I'm like, well, gee, like I remember saying that, 6 months ago or 8 months ago, whenever it was. And I don't know. I mean, like I'm not against Jackie's Warrior because I don't know how you really could be, but God, does it feel kind of bad after singling him at, 1-2 in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, like half of America, and watching him just completely fail to show up. And then seeing him back in here when, he didn't look really good in the Count Fleet. I mean, he won and the time form figure came back strong, although I don't know that I believe it. But like, he was 4 lengths clear in the stretch, and you could tell Rosario was trying to save horse that day and that he wasn't really asking Jackie's Warrior for everything he had. But still, I'm just a little bit gun shy after what he did to me in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I'm not so gun shy that I'll be against him and at the price he's likely to be. Let's all take a moment to laugh at the fact that somebody thought he'd be 5-2. But at the price he's likely to be, which is probably closer to 4-5 in my opinion, I I don't know. He feels like a single or toss kind of horse, and I'm a little bit nervous to single him. Like, what do you think, or what do you guys think?
I'm singling Jackie's Warrior. There's only one other horse that I was kind of interested in this spot, and it was kind of a C, and it was more of like a kind of like new face, kind of thing. Was the 5 reinvestment risk. I really liked reinvestment risk going into that last race to Carter. Unfortunately, ran in the speaker's corner, who just absolutely destroyed him by 4 lengths. But before that, had a nice little race once they cut him back at GP, coming from a little bit off of it. And I tend to upgrade horses that close a little bit at GP. So I was just kind of interested in reinvestment risk as kind of like a new face against these. I know he has faced Essential Quality before in the BC Juvenile, but now he's 4. Just kind of a new shooter type thing. See if anyone's going to kind of beat him. I think reinvestment risk is kind of where I'm looking at. But what about you, Bri?
I really do not like this race because I've got to take Jackie's Warrior. I as much as I'd love for Aloha West to be there, I don't see the pace here. I mean, Jackie's Warrior could be low in speed. I agree with you, Josh. I thought reinvestment risk made some sense. Jackie's Warrior slow or, gained 110 pounds. Maybe the 5 is interesting, but I'm not sure I could get anywhere else here. I tried, trust me. You guys know that. I tried to make a case for Sir Alfred James with John Court, and just the run style here is so much against everybody. And I don't see how Jackie's Warrior loses this race, and I wish I had a better opinion.
Yeah, for me, Jackie's Warrior is a lone A. The only other horse I'll have money going through is Cezanne, and probably is a B type of horse for me. I know we've already talked Jackie's Warrior to death, so your Todd Pletcher doesn't need to put Cezanne here. He can go anyplace else, and he's taken quite the class test. His figures are not that much slower than Jackie's Warrior's best, and if Jackie's Warrior does not fire his A game, I think Cezanne is the horse that kind of can is most likely to pick up the pieces. So, kind of how I saw it. Nothing super creative.
Caleb, how does it make you feel that Mark is betting Cezanne?
I mean, I kind of had to stifle a chuckle there. Cezanne might win if they give Flavian Pratt a cheeseburger on the end of a stick to dangle in front of his face, but I don't think Cezanne can win this race. We saw how Folsom showed up today, which
yeah.
So I don't want anything to do with Cezanne. I'm with you, Josh. I kind of think it's either. I think it is Jackie's Warrior. I think reinvestment risk is the only other horse I'd kind of give a look at. I think we probably at least need to talk about Aloha West, even though this is not really a horse that I'm a big fan of. I mean, he is the Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, and he beat Jackie's Warrior last time. I mean, and that was with not the cleanest of trips. I mean, what did y'all think of him? I mean, just think that was a fluke? I mean, even though he has, amassed a pretty nice record for himself, or what'd y'all come up with?
I don't understand how the pace works for Aloha West here.
Mm-hmm.
That was my biggest problem is who's going to push Jackie's Warrior to set up Aloha West. If you look way back in the 4, you're talking November 2021, which is like 10 races ago for whatever they're doing with that horse. The horse was forwardly placed in a lot of cheaper, what was that, 15,000, doing some Keeneland like grade 2. No, what was that one at Churchill? The Beto, I don't know what that is. November 6th, there's a $300,000 overnight stakes, the Better Sunshine. Sorry.
We're looking.
Yeah, on Sir Alfred James back in November. Right? You don't.
Well, you're not going to see it because Sir Alfred James runs every week.
Right,
like
exactly.
He's a freaking trotter horse, so the PPs don't show his races from November.
And that's the tough part, because if you look at the way the 4 ran,
that's the Better Sunshine.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. If you look how the 4 ran early in 2021, it was forwardly placed everywhere, and I'd say, yeah, this horse is going to give, Jackie's Warrior at least something to look at in the first half mile. But man, this horse for the last 3 months has been slow breaking. Obviously needs to get a break. This horse needs to go to the barn for a few months. And so, who challenges Jackie's Warrior?
I mean, probably nobody, but I mean, again, maybe this is me interjecting too much personal fear, but I didn't think anybody would challenge him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and like, he got beat by the Japanese horse Matera Sky, so I don't know. I don't. I agree with you. Look, on paper, it seems like he gets loose and there's not much pace for Aloha West, but I'm just nervous.
No one likes singling a horse at 1-2 and then coming back and singling the horse again.
Singling the horse at 1-2, getting boomed by somebody else, and then singling the horse right back.
I mean, I'm also thinking of it not to put the cart before the horse here, but like from a Mandos pick 6 or even a late pick 5 perspective, or all stakes pick 5 perspective, like this is going to be the most leveraged, most keyed horse in the entire sequence, potentially in the entire day. I don't think there's any home run singles left. Or anywhere before. I mean, we talked about basically every horse in the last 2 races. I don't think there's any home runs. I mean, this is going to be everybody's single. So from a ticket construction standpoint, I think there's a ton of value in if you can convince yourself that Jackie's Warrior is vulnerable.
Can you take what we like to call an asshole single here to the 6? I mean, the 6 is very interesting here.
Very.
I mean, a lot of the Commonwealth looked great. Granted, the optional claimer 62.5 is an optional claimer, but I mean the horse looked really good. 3 back when the horse lost. If you watch that replay, a lot of kickback. The horse had mud in its face the whole time. So,
lightly raced Godolphin homebred, who seems to be finally putting it together as a 4-year-old. Those last 3 starts have all improved one after another. I wouldn't hate somebody for going there. I think that what prevalence is more of a probably a tournament style play for me, right? Like that's a kind of that mid price horse that you think has upside.
Yeah, Clinton likes the 6 here a bit. I will say, I mean, it's pretty encouraging that it seems like this horse's speed figures have been progressing, just getting better and better.
Yep.
My only issue with this horse is he's only beaten horses that owe me money. In Chocolate Bar, Obesos,
Long Range
Sandwich is
Toddy
on there. Long Range Toddy does not owe me money because I would never bet any money on Long Range
Dream
Toddy.
Shake,
Stupid sandwich.
Dream Shake, I did collect. I collected at
collected
Keeneland
that
on Dream
Dream Shake?
Shake. Yes, I did. I believe that was a Dream Shake Busy Channel double, if I remember correctly.
I don't hate prevalence, but he's beaten nobody, and I think he gets overbet off that last race.
I mean, hey, prevalence at 10-1, maybe we.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not going to use Jackie's Warrior, I'm going to have prevalence because I'm not going to go against a 4-5 and lose to a horse that looks logical.
Yeah.
Steven wants to talk about mind control.
About mind control, you cowards, yeah.
I mean, he runs his race, right? But I don't think that I'm a big mind control fan, but I don't think he's perhaps as good as he used to be. I mean, I know Mark's going to be like, he's an every other race kind of horse and, whatever. And like, he kind of is, but I don't know. I mean, to me, he seemed like a distant third in that Carter. So, probably not for me, but
he kind of probably needs a career top to win this, and 6-year-olds don't pop career tops.
Yeah, so. I'm gonna have to circle back because I just pulled up the sheets, the rag sheets here, and I don't know how reinvestment risk is even fast enough to be here. So yeah, I'd probably go Jackie's Warrior with a little bit of prevalence and leave it at that.
Thoroughgraphs or the better sheets like reinvestment risk.
All right, I think we've talked. So what odds do you think? What odds do you think Jackie's Warrior goes off at? I mean, what is he like 5-2 on the line or something?
It's gonna be 3-5.
I think he's odds on.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be that tall. Really?
I said odds on, so less than
even
money.
Even money or less? Okay.
Yeah.
What odds would you need on Jackie's Warrior to place a win bet?
Even money.
2-5. I don't see how the horse loses.
Yeah, okay. Even money maybe. 6-5. Even money, something around there.
I don't know. 6-5 just sounds so much better than even money, doesn't it?
It does. I was going to do one different than Mark, really.
Yeah, just so much
extra
better.
dime.
That's so funny.
Yeah, we can't agree. I mean, that clearly can't happen.
All right, let's move on
11
to
to
race.
10.
See,
11 to 10.
at least Clinton Parks puts it out there. He's like, I want 5-2. You know, I can appreciate Clinton. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I want the morning line.
I want to know.
It's funny because I'll play a double or a pick 3 with a 4-5. Like, okay, I got no problem with that. But like win betting a 4-5, it's like not for me. All right, race 11, the Grade 1 Turf Classic. I mean, there's just so much that can be said about this race. Is this a triple Chad race too?
This is the triple Chad.
The triple Chad. We got 10 horses in here. A third of them are Chad Brown horses.
Not quite a third.
30% of them are Chad Brown horses. And I already know where Mark's going. Not
I know
just
where
because
Josh is going. So
well, I mean, this is just like this is just like the prototypical like bet with your heart, not with your bet with your mind, not with your heart, or whatever they say. Like, woof. Your morning line favorite here is Cheryl Spite at 3-1. You got Ivar 4-1, Tripithen, and Adhamo 5-1, 9-2. Public sectors in here.
Do you think Mike Battaglia will ever make Cheryl Spite more than like 5-1 for the rest of his career?
No. I mean, he made the biggest mistake he could have possibly made in the Maker's Mark Mile, and now comes back and makes sure the morning line favorite.
What was he in the book again?
50-1.
50-1. 50-1.
He could be carrying 240 pounds and dragging a sleigh, and Battaglia would make him 7-2.
Oh my god, he was 50-1. Got bet down to 9-1.
Caleb, can you shit on Tampa form again? Because I like when you shit on Tampa form. It makes me happy.
I'm not going to have Cheryl Spite anymore, so there's that.
Amber Heard, watch where you shit.
Oh god.
If you missed the funeral, you know what they say.
So this is I was ready to just call in get a wire from the bank, like just maybe get a check from Fidelity, like go walk over and pick a big old bet on the 2 here, Busy Channel, and then I saw how the turf was playing today, and I don't think in good conscience I can have. I was going to say can have any money, but we all know that that's a lie. I cannot have a lot of money going through the 2 Busy Channel. But, I mean, that allowance race last time out, I mean, he got out there right on the front end, and, they slowed it down. They went fast that first quarter, but slowed it down with 25 in the middle, and he just kicked on and held on by a neck to, was it Mr. Dumas? Right, it ran second. I really liked in that spot too. But I was pissed because Mr. Dumas was a coupled entry, and so there was no value because I think he was 4-5 or something. But I mean I love this horse. I think he might be a little in over his head in this grade 1 here, and I think that there's other speed in this spot, but. I will definitely have some type of money on this horse, and not for any good logical reasons. But I know the other 2 horses in this race that I like are going to be talked by other people. So, Caleb, I'll let you talk about your favorite horse in this race, the 1 Ivar.
I do think Ivar is the best horse in this race, and I'm going to use him. I am. So I guess I'll start with that, but. For me, I'm a little bit nervous because Polo Lobo is not a guy who does very well off of the layoff. And if you look at Ivar, he's not really a horse that does very well off of the layoff himself. I mean, all of his wins have kind of come in that second off the layoff pattern. He scratched out of the Maker's Mark Mile. I don't remember why. I don't know if it was a health issue or whatever else. But he scratched out of the Maker's Mark Mile to run here. He also had Lobo also had in that race, who did not run very well. But I thought Ivar in the Breeders' Cup Mile had an impossible trip. I mean, he breaks out of the parking lot, going a mile at Del Mar. That's an incredible ask to try to win from that post. And he ran huge. I mean, I think he was by far the best of the Americans, despite getting beat by Smooth Like Straight. I think that Ivar, is a really, really talented horse that tends to just never get the respect he deserves, given the connections. And I get it. Like, I'm not excited to bet Joe Talamo either, but he's won on this horse a couple of times, including against Grade 1 company. So I like Ivar in here. I think he's the horse to beat. I think there's a couple of big name horses. They're going to take some money that I'm sure someone of you guys will like, probably Mark, that I think are takeout reducers. But, I like Ivar, and that would be my top pick in here, but there's probably 2 or 3 more I'd use. But before I get any further, I'll see what, I'm going to just go directly to Brian and see what Brian likes. Well, Josh has a mouthful of something. Hummus, maybe.
So Caleb, you're taking the horse that hasn't won in 2 years.
He said Brian.
I want to pick on Caleb. So Caleb, you're taking the horse that hasn't won in 2 freaking years. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Brian.
Hasn't won in a year and a half between all 4 of the starts that he's been in. I'm sorry, 3 of the starts. Yeah, no, 4 of the starts that he's been in. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Keep going, Brian. Josh is still chewing, so
go ahead, real Brian.
Oh, go for Brian.
Okay. Well, how do I follow that up? I mean, Caleb took a horse that hasn't won in 4 years. Ivar reminds me of a Mark horse because Mark hasn't scored in 4 years either. Sorry, Mark. Low hanging fruit, buddy.
You're not sorry.
You're not sorry.
I got a whole stream happening on my MySpace page right now about this. No, I like Churchill Spite. Obviously, that was a big horse for me a few weeks back, but in this spot, man, I hate to say it. I think I want to take Frenchie.
Who's Frenchie on?
On the 5, Mira's Mission.
Oh.
And yeah, see, you have the same response I had when I got there, and I'm like, man, because the way I look at the races, I usually look at run style, and then I'll look at some how the horses run for speed, and then the 5 is one of these. Do I want to say the 4 is going to wire the field? That's the easy, simple answer, right? But when I start thinking about how the turf played today on a horse that's going to sit moderately close and be there, if you look at Mira's Mission, this is a horse that, since November of last year has a 3rd, a first. Granted, it was an optional claimer. It was a G3, and then 5th in the Maker's Mark Mile, which Churchill Spite won. So it's one of those horses where, can sit 3 lengths off the lead, can get there, might actually be getting a little bit of relief here based on how the Maker's Mark Mile came back. I really don't want to bet Julien Leproux on a big day, but when I sit here and I walk through it, the price is 10-1. This horse raced 22 days ago, same as Churchill Spite. And if Busy Channel is going to go, and Cavalry Charge is going to go, and Tribute Haven is going to be up front, I don't think I want any part of them. So I think Caleb had Ivar as the obvious stalking type horse, and in between Mira Mission and Churchill Spite, I think they're the other 2 stalking horses that I want to be covered to. And I never thought I'd take a Wilkes Leproux horse. We lost Josh. Where'd Josh go?
He's chewing at the moment.
So yeah, I'm here. I figured people didn't want to watch me chew. So
you started the stream last night with a mouthful of peanut butter and a golden retriever.
Well, I need a beer too, so I'll probably be leaving here in a second. All right, Mark. So I know your love for Churchill Spite has no bounds. I don't know if you want to talk about that or where else you kind of were looking at this.
Actually, I don't think Churchill Spite's my top. I would use Churchill Spite. I will be using Churchill Spite. My top choice in here is going to be the 8, Adamo. I think we obviously know that Trivia Fan is in here.
Shit, Nick Feldman.
Yeah, and actually, Nick Feldman and I. Hold on, let's let Nick Feldman speak for me because we are obviously the same person. For all the reasons that Nick Feldman says right there. Trivia Fan's in here as a rabbit to set up the other 2 Chads. I think Adamo is the better of those other 2 Chads. Horse had an absolutely brutal trip last out. Has the proper run style to be a major player here. This is the run style that's working right now. And I really think Flavian is I think Pratt's getting the best Chad mounts. I think that's Chad's new number 1. So I would imagine this is the most, well-meant Chad in the field. And I think Adamo makes an absolute ton of sense. I don't think I get that price. If I do get that price, I will have a very large white win bet on Adamo here. And but yeah, Adamo would be a horse that I'm super interested. Something like a pick 3, I might single and make some cute tickets here where people are getting spready, and I'll get a little aggressively single. Again, a horse that there were obviously some issues in those European races or whatever. Ships to the States, hopefully probably get a little easier company here than running in G2s at Longchamp. So I like Adamo quite a bit.
I mean, I get to play the Mark role for once. So Mark, this is literally the slowest horse in the race, like on any set of figures I've looked at.
Yeah,
so I mean, I don't understand.
This is Brian versus Caleb.
Like even public sector can match that fig and has more of a right to improve than Adamo, who has a recent start where public sector does not. I mean, I get the connections, but aren't you just paying the Chad tax on literally the slowest horse in the field?
I'm paying the Chad tax on the horse that had a 7-wide trip the last time out. I
mean, his other 11 starts are also too slow.
Are you doing the time form conversion from the Euros? I mean,
I mean, he hasn't. He's won. He was great as a 2-year-old, but hasn't done shit since.
There's 3 Chads, and you chose the Mike Maker Chad.
The Mike Maker Chad?
I was making a joke because he can't win.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah. All valid points. Still my top choice.
Did you guys look at the 10 at all? I'll let you two go back and forth.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What's that? You both talked at the exact same time. I have no clue what you said.
I said I did, Brian, but this horse owes me money. He's not going to win without me being on him.
Oh, that was the 2 Emmys race.
Yes.
And it's an interesting spot, right? I mean, and you're talking to a guy who tried to make an argument for Kentucky Ghost with Rafael Bejarano. And then I'm like, man, can Kentucky Ghost get it? And I'm like, man, Stanton's sitting there at 6-1. But again, this is the horse who seems to like to finish second a lot.
Funny enough, Stanton ended up going off as a favorite in that race.
Mm-hmm.
So I did see Ben Wilkie loves the 10. He said he's in too deep. He can't get off now. And Clinton agreeing with him. He says that the 10's quite scary. Gaffleone just needs to push a touch more. Also liking it. Looks like this horse is going to be coming from off the pace, which, like I said, was the run style that was working today. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. I think pace-wise, you're going to get a pretty honest pace here. So, what were you going to say, Mark?
I was just saying before we move on, what price do we actually get in Cheryl's Spite? Because I think that morning line is terrible. I would imagine we get more than that because I would imagine the Chads take some more money. What price do we really get there?
I don't think much more. I think it's probably right.
9-2 maybe.
Cheryl Spites had the big win recently in Kentucky, so you're going to get some faithfuls there. People that make their backdrops, the horse's name, things like that.
Hammer will tell you that Roger Atfield is the best turf trainer in North America. So,
hey, I haven't seen you do any streams with him lately. You got another stream coming up?
No, nothing.
Oh, sorry. Woodbine.
Yeah, Ben saying that Adamo should be nice on the wet turf.
What wet turf?
Oh, it was firm all day today, right? Even though it was raining.
It was listed as firm all day.
Yeah, listed as firm, yeah. And also the downpour came after all the turf races, so because the last 3 were all in the dirt.
Yeah, but now you got 17 hours before the next race. I mean,
yeah, like real quick, I want to get to Road Warriors comment, and then I want to talk about that. Road Warriors saying that Tributhon was supposed to be a rabbit in a 1.8 turf race last year too. How'd that turn out? And I really do think that Tributhon is starting to, or not Tributhon, but Chad Brown is really starting to employ the Aidan O'Brien strategy, where he puts out a quote unquote rabbit, but with the intent that, hey, this horse might still win. Like he's gonna put one of his front running horses in these races, maybe to steal it, but at least put some kind of pace in there. So I thought Tributhon would look pretty good. I just don't know if that run style is going to work tomorrow. So I think he's got figs that fit in this spot. But did anyone else have any interest in this horse?
Is the 2
No.
faster? That's my question. On the inside draw on 2, is the 2 faster?
Early, no.
Yes, I think the 2 is probably faster early, but
Right.
I think you're not taking intent in there. I'm assuming that Tribufan, they're telling him make the lead and go. So I'm assuming Tribufan does make the lead, even though I think if he wasn't being sent, the 2 is probably faster.
Yeah, I agree. But before today, I liked Tribhuvan. After today, I don't. If I see speed looks okay tomorrow, like I'll change my opinions. But what I saw today, I just can't use a speed horse on the turf. So no, I won't have Tribhuvan anywhere unless turf looks better tomorrow for speed horses.
All right, DJ Vasquez saying Mirror Mission and Santon for him. So we kind of talked about those.
Good answer.
And
I think we talked about everybody except for Kentucky Ghost, right?
Basically.
I guess public sector. I mean, that horse. That's the horse I referred to as a takeout reducer. Is the 3. I mean, is anyone using that horse?
No.
The other Chad?
Yeah, the other cubed Chad.
No, I think that's no. I won't be.
Okay.
Defensively?
No, nowhere.
Like if Mark's not using a Chad horse, I feel pretty good about fading it.
I actually feel like I should single it now.
Yeah,
that's the other one.
the one that we think has no shot is the one that's
Right.
going to win. Yeah.
Chad does that shit though. We've all seen it.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on to the Kentucky Derby, I do want to bring up something that you mentioned, Brian, because it was pretty funny. Caleb and I today, like during some of the early stakes, maybe like race like 5 or 6 when the stakes races started. I mean, we were getting like 2 League of Legends games in before between games, like between races. Like, dude, like what good does that do to have an hour between these races?
It's
like
horrible. Absolutely.
Like, give me a break,
horrible.
man.
An hour and 20 minutes between these 2 races.
It's ridiculous.
No, an hour and 30 minutes. An hour and a half between the turf and the Derby. I mean,
well, they have to give all that time for NBC to make a bunch of puff pieces that no one wants to watch anyways.
That's what they
do a fashion show and show everybody's hats and all the bullshit.
And then 30 minutes later, after the race ends, for the DQ that's going to happen, like what the fuck, man? That's like 2 hours before you're going to get paid.
Yeah, and the sad thing is they only give Eddie Olczyk like 37 seconds to tell us who he likes, and he's the only one on that broadcast I want to listen to who he's picking.
And Eddie legit knows what he's talking about. I would much rather them put Eddie up there for 15 or 20 minutes and just let Eddie talk about a race because guy knows his stuff.
Yeah, and like honestly, like I don't have a problem with the way NBC presents, including the fashion stuff, including the puff pieces and stuff. But like, you fucking have a half hour between races. Hey, okay, stretch it out to 45 minutes or something. But an hour and a half is just egregious. Like, just egregious.
Okay,
I might even bet Belmont in between that.
Guys, can we have a gentleman's wager between the stream? How many Run Happy commercials do we see between the turf and the Derby? Over under 3. Over under 3.
0 because I'm not going to have NBC on.
I won't have the track feed on, but I'm still going to bet though because DGen. So I'm going to say 4.
See,
Steve,
Caleb knows what's up.
Steven's saying you should go live tomorrow to fill the time. Yeah, we could get a whole stream in there.
We could get a race in there anyway.
They're going to spend 10 minutes just watching Mattress Mac, spend $3 million in quarters at the window.
All right.
That's not true, Stephen Fox. Wasn't it Belmont? Was it Belmont who ran on top of the Derby last year? I thought everybody was pissed off on Twitter because one of the big tracks, either Gulfstream or Belmont, ran right on top of the Derby.
That sounds like something Belmont would do because there's always been this bit of and it's the Breeders' Cup as well. But Naira always feels a little bit dissed by certain things, so they just don't want to play nice with others.
Hey, Roadwarrior just threw all kinds of shade on us.
Did he?
You guys can cover 5. That. Yeah, you can cover a 5-horse race in time between the races. All right.
He's not wrong.
Kentucky Derby time. Mile and a quarter on the dirt, 3-year-olds. Big race. The end. We got 2 more races after this, but really, I think Caleb and I both checked out at the end of the Oaks. And I know, Mark, you were doing other stuff, and Brian, you were working. So, we were just kind of done. So we'll probably be done after race 12 as well tomorrow. But Who knows? Maybe we got the get out races. But we got a full field of 20. We got one scratch in the 20 horse Ethereal Road, scratching out late. And then we got the 21 Rich Strike, Sonny Leon and Eric Reed making it into the gate in the 20 poles. So I'm actually going to pull up the current odds because I know we have those. So let me grab that real quick. But I went on with Chase this week, and we talked about post position draw. And I think this will be kind of like a quick little conversation because I don't really think anybody I was interested in got affected by the post position draw. Is there anybody to you guys that like the post position draw actually mattered and changed your opinion on where you were going to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's that?
If Zozo draws into the first 10, I have a different pace opinion on how it breaks down. But that horse needed to save ground, gets the 19 hole. I mean, this horse needed, all kinds of problems. Will probably still be up front in the first turn, but by the half mile, we may see Zozos, in the 12th position.
Yeah, I think I want. Well, I didn't want White-Abaro to begin with, but I want even less White-Abaro after the draw. There is, not the last since they went to the the away from greatest stakes earnings and they went to the point system. We've seen a lot less speed, but this year we do have some more speed drawn in. White-Abaro is going to be floated about 10 wide around the first corner because there's going to be a ball of horses that have the same exact run style with very similar early foot to the inside of him. And I think somebody like White-Abaro is just going to get the worst of it. He's going to get floated 8 or 10 wide around the first corner and shuffled way back and just going to have way too much to do late. So I think some of the horses with that run style, White-Abaro and outside, I would move down. He was the one I think that was most affected.
Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. No one that I really cared about was impacted. Some of the horses that I want to beat, I wish they drew worse, looking at you, Taba. But for the most part, nobody really got too screwed. I'm a big Epicenter fan. I don't love his draw. I wish he was a few more gates to the outside, or at least outside the Dubai Sprinter. But all in all, I don't think it really changed my opinions. I think the only way it would really change your opinion is if you really liked O'Donegal, which I did not.
Yeah, and I just pulled up the live odds here. It looks like, and there's only $1 million in the pool right now, so that's probably like what 10%.
Was that two mark pick fives?
2 mark pick fives. I forget how much they get, but there's $1 million in the pool right now. Epicenter is your 5-1 favorite, co-favorite, along with Taiba, who's also 5-1. Messier at 7-1, Zandon at 8-1, Mo Donegal at 8-1, White-Abaro 11-1, Charge It 13-1, Smile Happy 14-1, Cyber Knight 15-1, and then everyone's favorite horse, Crown Pride 17-1, and then we start getting into over 20-1 horses in that spot. But yeah, I mean it's been a while since we've had a Derby with a 5-1 favorite, right? What was last year was
Central Quality was 5-2.
5-2, and I want to say that that really bad horse that I hated, Tis the Law, he was a favorite, right? Wasn't he also like 5-2, 7-2 or something?
Law was a huge favorite. He was like 4-5 or something.
No.
Yeah, he was very short.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to get a nice wide open Derby, and I think that was something that we've been talking about for a while. Like, hey, there's no short price here. If you're right, you are going to get paid. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I think we all kind of have our opinions here. Mark, I know I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want us to talk about tosses first? Do you want us to talk about who we're going to go with? Do you want us to give picks? Do we want to talk about the pace? Do you want what are you thinking here, Mark?
Well, I think we sort of we're trying to come up with a new way to approach the Derby, right? Like I think you can go. There's a million touts online. There's a million. Every wise guy has their picks on the Derby and why they like horses, and I think everybody has their opinions. So we wanted to come up and do something a little different. So our idea was pick one of the favorites and reason that you're not going to include that favorite on any of your tickets. And then also pick a price horse that you like that will be on all of your tickets. So I think let's go through the fades first, Josh, and then we can talk about our prices after that.
All right, Mark. Well, why don't you start? Why don't you start first? Who's your fade?
Yeah, my fade is Mo Donegal, one horse. First thing, historically, the one path has not been where you want to be in the Derby. I know there's a new gate, but we still haven't seen a one hole winner in forever, and it's a spot where it's easy to get shuffled back if you have a bad break. You're it's just disadvantageous to be. To be in the one path. And also, obviously the Wood Memorial has not been a good prep the past, I don't know, since forever. It's been forever since a Wood Memorial where a Wood winner did well in the Derby. And I also, quite honestly, this horse has a run style that just doesn't fit what's been working in the Derby. We've seen E and EP types who have been cleaning house ever since they went to the point system. And Mo Donegal is going to have a whole lot of work to run or a whole lot of work to do in the lane. And so for that reason, he will be on none of my tickets.
Brian, why don't you go next? Because I think you kind of got a similar type of horse here.
So, what if I was to tell you that a horse got second to the horse named Mo Donegal Mark just made a strong argument against? That happened. Then that horse came back and got third to Epicenter and Smile Happy. And then comes back in a very, very weak Bluegrass Stakes and wins by beating Command Performance.
Who everyone's beat.
Do I have to say anything else about why Zandon cannot win the Derby? I mean, I'm pretty sure I could stop right there, but for the sake of the segment, let's think of this. This horse is breaking from the 10 hole. You've got speed on the inside. You have speed on the outside. You have a horse that very well should be the furthest back, except Rich Strike, who will still be in the barn. So when I don't trust Zandon here, I don't like the preps that Zandon went through, and I downplay the Bluegrass just because of how Zandon got there. It felt like one of those detour routes. Couldn't win the Remsen, couldn't win the Risen Star. Let's go win the Bluegrass. And on the day of the Bluegrass, I loved the effort. I sat there and said, man, this is going to be my horse. But I hate the draw with the speed on the inside and the outside. And every year I try and talk myself into a closer for the Kentucky Derby, and then I lose. So, if it's Chad's year with Pratt aboard on a closer, so be it. But, at 3-1 and a horse that's going to have to pass 18 horses in the stretch, no thanks.
I mean, I completely agree. My problem with Zandon isn't so much the horse, is so much the price, right? I thought all of a sudden he wins the Bluegrass, and all of a sudden everybody is just going wild. I mean, they made him the morning line favorite. Yep. They made a closer the morning line favorite. I don't know.
For the Kentucky Derby.
I just have a hard time getting there. I thought that Zandon would be one of the double digit horses, and I think right now he's sitting 8-1 or something. But I definitely thought that he would kind of be like a sneaky play, and he ended up being the wise guy horse, and I just think there's not going to be any value there. So I think he's a nice horse. I don't think this is the race for him, and I think he's going to be an uphill battle. And the price is definitely not right for a horse that's going to have a lot against him.
To me, Zandon's the perfect Preakness horse. He sits out the Derby, he comes back, and he wins the Preakness going away. You know what I mean? It just has that feel to it. But here we are.
I mean, so I'm just curious. We talk about price. At what price do you become interested in Zandon, if ever?
If you would have flipped Zandon and Taiba, I'm probably okay with it. Taiba is 12-1 in the morning line. The fact that you have a closer in a 20-horse field at 3-1, I just have a hard time with. So if the morning line is 12-1, and you get 8-1, 7-1 at the post, I'm probably okay with that.
No, that's kind of where I'm coming from too. I mean, he's 8-1 right now, and if he goes up much further, I mean, I don't think that's a terrible bet. But at 3-1 or 7-2, whatever, I agree with you guys.
Probably that 12-1 to 15-1 range. So I agree with Brian.
So I guess that's me, huh?
Yeah, why don't you let us know, Caleb, who you hate in this who's your toss here?
Oh, God. I have been waiting to just dunk on Taba for like a month or two now. This horse just goes against everything that is holy in horse racing and everything I believe in horse racing. I respect the fact that you kicked Mark out. That makes me feel better. Taba has every statistic in the Kentucky Derby pretty much against him. He has not raced as a 2-year-old. He did not race in the graded stakes until April 9th. He is making his third career start, which a horse has not won the Derby in their third career start since Leonidas. And I think it was 1886. Red Warrior can probably check me on that. But I think 1886, like 150 years since that has been done. I mean, I understand horses are trained differently now. You don't race them as often, blah, blah, blah. This horse has faced a combined 11 other horses in his 2 starts. He's basically doubling his competition from his first 2 starts combined in this race alone. I don't think he gets the lead. He gets Mike Smith, who is not my favorite jockey. There is just way too much for him to handle this early in his career. I very much think Taba is an outstanding racehorse, will be a graded stakes winner, a multiple grade 1 winner, more than likely. But to take a very short price and don't pay attention to that goofy ass 12-1 morning line, because it's not going to happen, he's probably going to be 5 or 6-1 is my guess. And to take him as the second or third choice in a race that is really this wide open and he's this just unproven, yeah, not for me. I mean, I could go on all day about, I think that he caught a favorable track profile in his Santa Anita Derby win when it was playing much more towards closers. He sat off the dueling speed horses, yada, yada, yada. But honestly, there's just this horse not for me.
You also forgot about the epiglottal thievery that also occurred.
Yeah, I mean, just like Omaha Beach, Bob Baffert or, Tim, Yakfert or, Bob, whatever his name, Bafteen, he had to arrange to steal Forbidden Kingdom's epiglottis, just like Omaha Beach. I mean, we've seen this before. It's Bob's go-to move.
Can I counterpoint? Because I like Taiba. And to me, this feels like the big middle finger from the silver-haired sunglass-wearing trainer. Who owned Medina Spirit? Zenden. Who owns Taba? This horse didn't start until March. Third career start's going to be the Kentucky Derby. This horse had an extra 4 months of getting the special hay and oats. And here we are. If you look at this horse on rags, the horse fits very well. And for a second career start, this horse looked more mature than I ever thought I'd see on a second-time starter. Sat comfortably outside of Messier. Messier pressed Forbidden Kingdom, sat comfortable, waited, very patient ride by Mike Smith, and then came by a tiring Messier. I talked to somebody earlier who said that they thought Messier was getting schooled in the Santa Anita Derby. I went back and watched the replay. I think I saw 3 left-handed whips on Messier, and that was it. So whether or not that was the case, to me, it was interesting just how patient and how much poise Taba showed for a horse that's coming in at the second career start for the Santa Anita Derby. Justify won the Kentucky Derby and the Triple Crown after 3 lifetime starts. This feels like the big fuck you to horse racing. I'm Bob Baffert. I'm Zidane Stables. Here's my horse.
I think it's going to be a very uncomfortable interview with the owner if this horse wins. I don't know if you guys remember when Country Grammar won the Dubai World Cup.
Yeah.
Yes. He won Dubai World Cup. They interviewed Zedden, and he's like, "That's what Bob Baffert can do." So if Taiba wins, is he going to be like, "That's what Tim Yakteen can do"? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And I mean, I'm sure he's been a huge defender of Bob Baffert, and I don't. It's gonna be very uncomfortable, and unfortunately, I think he's one of 3 horses that can win this race, which makes me just feel real gross. Basically, I kind of agree with Caleb. Like, this horse shouldn't win, but he's also one of the few horses that has some of the other proven Derby angles. You know, the 100 buyer, the final furlong time, and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of hard to overlook. I mean, when I saw 12-1, I kind of chuckled. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tyba goes out favored at this point. I mean, he's already 5-1. I mean, maybe, you know, early money's not always right, and I think Epicenter is still going to take a ton of money. But yeah, I mean, my toss is much less sexy, because I think Caleb got the good one. But I mean, I'm tossing Messier from this race, and basically based off the fact that he lost to Taiba. I mean, if I'm going to bet a horse in this race from the Timiac Team Barn, it's not Messier. You know, we've seen this nonsense before with the Baffert barn, where he's got multiple horses in the Santa Anita Derby, and you know, the one that is the horse somehow finishes second, finishes third, and you know, gets passed by another horse that needed the points, and then at the same time that horse comes back and just fires a dud. So I'm not interested in Messier. Once again, what is he? He's 7-1. He's the 3rd choice currently on the live odds. And I mean, I'm even less interested at a shorter price. I thought we would get 12-1. I thought Messier and Taiba would kind of flip. But Messier is not going to be on any of my tickets. I mean, and like I said, I play a lot of the matchup, right? I look who's beat who and things like that, and what kind of form the horse is coming in. And it's like, if you like Messier, shouldn't you like Taiba more? So, I mean, I guess I could see somebody thinking, hey, I'm going to play both of them. But I like 2 other horses in this race much more than I would even before I would even want to look at Messier. Let me take a look at some of these comments here. While you were waxing poetic, I saw the Rictavia saying, if Taiba wins, how loud do you think the boos are? And does someone launch a mint julep at ZN?
No way, that's a $24 drink.
And they're gonna throw it all the way to the infield.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's a long throw.
Yeah, imagine throwing $30 at Zenden, like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, Road Warrior said he'd be proud to if he had the money to get that close, and he probably should have put and afford multiple mint juleps. Clinton saying, yeah, and we're talking strictly like win candidates here, and I think, you know, we are being a little you know, just trying to generate conversation. So Clinton saying that he thinks that Xandon would be good if you're going to play the exotics. Yeah, I mean, those types of horses always clunk up into 3rd and 4th all the time. So
if you're playing trifectas, you have to have Xandon and Modonical underneath, right?
I think that you could make a good strategy of playing a try or a super where you take a Zenden or a Modonigal and you key them in 3rd and 4th, kind of a thing in a super. Like, you key them in the bottom half of that wager. I think that would be a really smart play.
Yeah, Bob Affer would be wearing a fake mustache, trying to break in the CD, trying to give his horses extra heart. And yeah, Ryan's agreeing. He's like, yep, Zen's an auto toss.
I like Ryan more and more. Maybe
I do like Ryan. Ryan's growing on me.
Yeah. And Road Warrior saying you can only waste your time on one circuit. He's a New York racing enthusiast only. So, yeah.
A month till Finger Lake starts.
Yeah. So, you know, kind of taking it the other way. I think we wanted to take a look at some of the prices that we like in this spot. I guess I'll go first because I think this is I think, in my opinion, the horse I'm going to have the most money going through, and that's a 15 White Barrio. He was made 10-1 in the morning line, and I kind of laughed, and I was like, really? Like, this horse is going to be like 7-1 or something, 6-1, and everybody I've talked to like has not even like talked about this horse. This horse somehow is getting lost. And is going to get lost on the board. Currently sitting at 11-1 on the live odds. And I think, Caleb, you told me you looked overseas and he was in the 14 to 18-1 range last week.
He's come down a little bit since then. he's kind of floating around the 12-ish to 1 line right now, but it's still a pretty fair price, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like the horse to win this race. Obviously, I like one of the other short price horses in here as well. But I mean, the Florida circuit has been the most productive circuit to generate Derby winners, and on top of that, White Barrio has got that. He's got, I think, the right run style for this race. We do have a little bit of cheap speed coming in from overseas, and Summers tomorrow, and Classic Causeway is also probably going to have to go from that wide outside post. And I think White Barrio is going to sit a decent trip here. He's every time he's been out there, he's made his own trip. And I know people constantly talk, "Oh, he had a good trip. He tripped out. He tripped out." I mean, he's tripped out twice in a row against some really nice horses. So maybe he just makes his own trip in the spot. So I love White Barrio in this spot. I'm currently live to Derby double to him. I have him in my pick sixes, and my 2-day pick six, and my pick three. I don't know. I think I actually think he might be almost a horse to beat in this spot if it weren't for another horse sitting in the 3 post. But I don't know. I can't say anything bad about the horse, and he's going to be 11, 12 to 1. I don't know. I just think that other horses are getting that steam because they've run more recently, but I just don't think that White Barrio should be slept on.
Hello.
I was waiting for Mark because I thought Mark was just going to jump down my throat because he hates this horse. He didn't even use it in the group ticket.
No.
Hey, did that surprise you? That group ticket hasn't won yet. 3 years in a row, he tosses like the winner out. Like let's say $4 and toss the favorite.
Yeah, I wasn't very impressed with White Barrio's Florida Derby. Obviously, he won the race. Looked like he didn't want to go very much further than what he was going. Like he looked like he was slowing down towards the wire and was trying to pull himself up. I don't actually think the extra furlong helps him in this race. And quite honestly, the Saffy Magic Beans don't seem to ship very well outside of Florida. He's like a 30% trainer in Florida and like a 5% trainer in Kentucky. Saffy's just, they don't ship. And yeah, I want no part of White Barrio. I don't like the post. I don't like the horse. Just way too many things here that are red flags for me. So, and honestly, there's been a bunch of Saffy horses at both Keeneland. I realized that he did have a winner at Keeneland, but between Keeneland and Churchill, he's had a number of shippers, and none of them have run. They've all stunk it up and run up the track.
See, I liked White Barrio, obviously, and when you start digging into replays, you start watching. You know what I mean? And in the optional claimer that White Barrio ran, no pressure, Zaya's aboard, perfect trip. Comes back in the Kentucky Jockey Gold Cup and finished third. Had a little bit of adversity. Then they switched to Tyler Gaffleo in the Holy Bull. No problem again. Come back in the Florida Derby. Very smart, nice ride by Tyler. This horse has been, I don't want to say lucky with how the races have played out around.
He's tripped out.
Yeah. He has tripped out, and if you believe in, Ryan asked earlier about Sarton mythology, and so I'm going to quote it here, or not quote it, but use it here. If you believe in the velocity ratings of White Barrio, I know Josh, we had this conversation earlier privately. White Barrio is a very slow horse in the last 3 furlongs. So if you subscribe to the Sarton mythology or that kind of handicapping of velocity rankings and ratings, then White Barrio is going to be a huge price because of the slow second or slow last quarter, if you will, the 3 furlongs. So how you handle that's up to you, but White Barrio doesn't stand a trip out here. You're going to pay for it, but this horse does seem to be able to make his own destiny, if you will. I mean, he's won from 2.5. He's won in the lead. So I could go either way with this horse. I see Mark's point, but I think Josh being so much through White Barrio makes a ton of sense because the horse, while getting the trips that you needed, has been able to do it in a multitude of ways. He doesn't seem to be one-dimensional.
All right, Road Warriors already asked about it, and you don't have to ask Caleb. Caleb is on the White Barrio train as well because we're just like been in lockstep this entire stream.
Is that big
Anyone
yet?
like Charge It? Price kind of sucks right now. Is that your fault, Mark?
It's all my fault because clearly I'm dumping into the futures pools early. No, I love Charge It. I think this horse now, he is amazingly green. He is still trying to figure it out and put all the pieces together. I'm not going to deny that. But if you watched his Florida Derby, Whataburro got first run on him, and Charge It was doing, once he finally switched leads in the stretch, he was pulling in Whataburro. And if you had an extra furlong there, the finish, the result of that race is very different. I think Charge It tracks down Whataburro. This is a horse that obviously he's very lightly raised. He's very green, but we all know Todd Pletcher. Todd Pletcher bases out of Gulfstream all winter long. And Todd Pletcher sent and this is Todd Pletcher. He's got a million talented 3-year-olds in his barn. He sent all those other talented horses to other places so they didn't have to run versus Charge It. So clearly Charge It is the horse that Todd feels is his most talented 3-year-old. If you watch any of the works across Churchill, this horse looks amazing. He has been working out super well, has a couple of works across the surface, just absolutely skipping across it. You watch that last work, and I can post the video up if people want to see it. He was, I don't think I've ever seen like a 5 furlong work in company where the jock, it literally had the horse under a rate the full time. Never took a rate off down the front stretch because they apparently wanted to give the horse on the outside more work. This horse just looks absolutely phenomenal. And I think a big thing about the Derby is you want the horse of right now. You don't want the horse of a month or two ago. And I think Charge It is the horse that Todd's figured this timing thing out. He's, it used to always be Todd Pletcher horses did great in all the prep races. They get to the Derby and all of a sudden they flop. And he's completely changed how he manages his 3-year-old colony. And, I think this Charge It is the perfect example of this. A horse that's rounding into form at the right time, has a ton of talent, and just needs to put the pieces together. And I realize he's super green. He doesn't meet some of my criteria, like having that 100 buyer, in a prep, but he takes just a tiny step forward and he's just an absolutely massive player. And I really, really like him here. I put him a slight cut below, somebody like a Taiba or an Epicenter, but he is, he's a very, very, very talented horse. And I think he's got just a massive amount of upside. I just don't think I'm going to kind of get the price that I hoped I was going to get.
He misses the board.
Yeah, I agree. He misses the board.
I mean, everything you just said, this horse is slow. And this might be the horse that you want come July.
Exactly.
You said you don't want the horse of a month ago. I don't want the horse from the summer either. You can have Charge It. I mean, come on.
I think Mark's got a good point with the greenness, but you don't try and figure out the greenness in the Derby. I don't know. I mean, yeah, like if the horse all of a sudden is completely 100% professional, he moves forward. But I mean, who's not to say that the other horses that he was facing also move forward? So I don't know. I get the thinking. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if this is the time that it's going to happen. I don't know. You want to see? I mean, we keep shit talking.
Keep going.
Yeah, because he's just I mean, like 13-1 is just ludicrous on Charge It. Like that is ludicrous.
That is too short.
So
that horse should be 40-1.
I would make an irresponsibly large wager on him.
I do want to point out that a couple things that Ben Wilkie says a group ticket could be AA right now. Just saying, and then also Stephen Fox, and he tried talking him into White Barrio, but it doesn't matter. we've used the bees already. So
The fact that you used bees on Pauline's Pearl and Secret Oath, that's
Yes.
oh man,
I can't believe Secret
Not-
Oath was a B. That's what blows my mind.
I'm waiting for him to just go B on the on the pick six, because that would be something incredible.
God, that'd be fantastic.
Sorry to everybody who bought into the group ticket. My $50 are gone as well. Well, actually, no, they're technically. I mean, hey,
You're technically alive.
we're still alive.
You're alive.
$1.
My racehorse wagering.
The micro shares. Yeah.
Oh,
Brian, who did you like here?
I don't like Charge It. Not sure if I've said that already. You know, I'm going to make a horse, like a case for a horse that is, yeah, beat Classic Causeway, beat White Barrio, beat, I don't know, Zandon, Pioneer Medina, Slow Down Andy, Papa Cap. Pretty nice horses, right? As I name them through, you're like, man, that sounds pretty good. Beat Command Performance. I mean, the donkey down the street beat Command Performance, but Smile Happy to me is being severely overlooked. Mark made a great case for Charge It, even though he was wrong. When you look at what, Smile Happy is coming in. Hold on for a second. This commercial is brought to you by Run Happy. Standing. Sorry.
Stall 1, Claiborne Farms.
You can't say Run Happy, Smile Happy without dropping a commercial here. Listen, if you look at the figures on Rags, this horse is faster than Messier. This horse is faster than Crown Pride, who's getting all the stupid Twitter money. Sorry, Ryder Dave, there's no Japanese flag behind me today. Horses ran just as fast as Zandon, and this horse is being completely ignored because he doesn't have the signature wins. If I was to tell you that you could have a horse in the Kentucky Derby at 20-1 on the morning line that beat Classic Causeway and White Barrio and came second to Epicenter, you'd be like, holy crap, I can get a horse at 20-1 that has that kind of history. And then I tell you, yeah, it's Run Happy. You're like, oh crap, never mind. But to me, coming in or Smile Happy, sorry, at a 21 morning line, if this horse had won one of the preps, this horse is 9-1, but has been close. First in the Gold Cup, second in the Risen Star, second in the weak Bluegrass to Zandon. So I kind of downgrade that one a little bit, but it's one of those horses where he's there. And as much as it pains me to use Corey Lannery in the Derby, this horse at 21 is ridiculous. And he should be able to sit the second flight. The concern I have is, will Corey try to wait for the rail to open up? Because that's what Corey does.
Hold real quick. I need to ask, do you have an alt out
Yes.
there in chat? Because Dennis C just said, Mark has a better chance of getting laid Saturday night than Smile Happy. So
That's like a double burn. That's brutal.
where the F?
Well, it's apparently
It's
Dennis.
just coming in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's apparently Dennis's first time watching the show because Mark hasn't been laid since American Pharoah.
Goodness gracious. All right, Brian. So I had to cut you off there when I saw that. You got anything else you want to wax poetic about Smile Happy?
Sorry, lag. As much as I hate to rely on Corey here at this price, if he can work a trip behind the Messiers, behind the Taibas, behind White Barrio and even Pioneer Medina, I mean, the Smile Happy makes a ton of sense. And with mild improvement, this horse could probably be a benefactor. That's all I got.
I respect your opinion.
It's okay.
Caleb, what do you?
Yeah, just to touch on.
Hey, you can hate my opinion, but I did, cash tickets today.
It's true.
Just want to point that out. That's all I got.
Yeah. Touch on some of y'all's picks. I agree with 2 out of 3 of you, and that I like Smile Happy and I like Whatabario.
Yay!
I don't like Charge It, but at any
likes
rate, my long shot pick is honestly a horse that I don't think can actually win the race. But since I was the last person to pick a long shot, I kind of had to make do with what was left. So I'm picking a horse that I think can get a piece, if not outright, but probably not outright win, which is the number 13 Simplification. So this is a horse that one of our buddies, Capone, is absolutely head over heels for. He's been on this horse since February, essentially in the Holy Bull. And I think this horse is getting a little bit overlooked, similar to Smile Happy, maybe. Now, I mean, is this horse better than Smile Happy? I don't know. But this is one of those horses that, to steal a page out of Mark's book, is absolutely coming into this race with an every other pattern kind of a horse. He's never put together 2 wins, but he never really totally fails to show up either. But, his last race in the Florida Derby, was not particularly strong. But I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think this is a horse that really wants to be on the lead. I know that he wired the Mucho Macho Man, but I think that by and large, he did his better running, coming a little bit further off the pace. Antonio Salno's on the record saying that the plan is to take him off the pace on Saturday. So I'm pretty happy to hear that. Jose Ortiz had a couple of options. I think it's encouraging to see that he ends up staying here, even throughout all the preps, all throughout the spring. And I don't think that Florida Derby was bad. I mean, the time form figs came back a little on the slow side. If you listen to the Jay Privman and Andy Byer conversation, they discussed the fact that it's pretty likely that the Florida figs were maybe a little bit slower than they should have been. The track was uncharacteristically slow and cuppy that day, whereas the Wood Memorial, for example, came up a little faster than they think maybe it should have been. At Aqueduct, it's a tough business making speed figures, so I'm not going to give anyone shit about that. But I think that, kind of to Josh's point, the Florida preps have historically been very productive. Simplification is your Fountain of Youth winner. His Holy Bull effort was actually extraordinary given the start that he had in that race. He totally blew the brake. He tossed his head. He came out last. He looped the entire field and actually got up for second. He beat Mo Donegal in that Holy Bull. And we've seen what Mo Donegal has come back to do with, a huge race in the Wood Memorial. I think that, again, then he won the Fountain of Youth pretty much geared down without any asking, and then just didn't get the right trip in the Florida Derby, setting a pretty quick pace in a position that I don't think he really wants to be in. I'm not sure if that last furlong is going to work to his advantage or not. It's a little bit ambiguous given the pedigree and the way he's finished up. He did come home a little bit slow in the Florida Derby, but I think, again, the track was playing slow towards raw times, so I'm not that concerned about that. But I think this is a horse that is probably sitting on a good race. He has a great jockey here and has been working absolutely incredible in the morning, probably some of the best works of any horse in this field, according to the DRF workout reports. So to me, Simplification, maybe a bit of a surprise horse to get the actual win, but an extremely likely horse, in my opinion, to run somewhere between second and fourth at a huge price.
Stephen Fox commenting that Capone was also a max player for a year before he won.
That is true. That is very fair.
DJ Vasquez looks like he's going to be keying Barber Road in second with the all Barber Road, all trifecta.
Oh, hold on. Is that Mario?
Big, what is that?
Mario.
$200 try?
It's 20 times 19.
Well, just under 200.
Yeah, it's just under 200. Yeah,
380.
DJ
Simplification in the future, or not the futures, but in the live, I'm pulling it up right now. He is
41-1.
41-1.
That's crazy.
Mark going on the limb, taking an 11-1 horse as his price play, but I got 41-1 over here.
I mean, that's a bomb to Mark. He boomed 6-5s. I mean, 11-1. He'll be.
He did boom the even money horse today.
What's Smile Happy on that pool, Caleb?
He is. Let me pull it
14-1.
14-1. All right. And what are
I
the
agree
odds
with you, Brian. I think he is still getting overlooked.
And what are the odds of Mark getting laid tomorrow?
Let's see. Rich Strike is 99-1. So
Nice.
Oh.
Hi, Dennis.
Oh man. All right, so now that we talked about horses that aren't, well, except for me, we're talking about horses that aren't going to win. Mark, who's your actual top pick for this race? How are you actually betting this race? I know you do like charge it. You're going to have some money going through it, but who are going to be your A's? How are you going to be live to here?
I'll have equal money going through Taiba and Epicenter, and then I will have a little bit of money going through Charge It, and those are the only 3 horses I need. Yeah. Again, yeah, that's it. I don't think I really need any other horses.
I mean, do you think we need to talk about Epicenter? Do you think like?
I mean, I think Epicenter. Everybody sort of knows that story, right? I mean, with the exception of Lecomte, I mean, obviously, with the exception of his original maiden and Lecomte, he's undefeated. He's done nothing but get better, look amazingly impressive doing so. Asmussen's masterfully campaigned him. I think that lose in a Derby try where they rated him just to get him behind horses, so he had the experience. It's a masterclass. He's done everything right by this horse, and he's he should be your favorite. He's an amazingly talented horse, and yeah, I think it's hard to get. It's hard not to like Epicenter. We were doing this kind of beat up a favorite thing, and I really wanted to try to beat up Epicenter, and I can't find a chink in the armor. I couldn't find anything I could get behind and go, oh, here are 5 reasons I dislike this horse. He's just been quality and class.
Somebody found a Discord message. Someone pull it up.
It's on my Twitter.
Oh, no.
BD horse player. The most likely horse to finish last is Epicenter, for Mark's opinion. But let me ask you this question, because Epicenter's been able to rate, been a speed horse. Coming from the 3-hole, you've got Summers tomorrow, 31 the outside of him, is going to affect the pace in the beginning. You've got Happy Jack, who's eating popcorn and will probably stop for a hot dog in the middle of the backstretch. What is the likelihood that Epicenter comes out of the gate, man, and he's got to send from the gate, right? To not find himself shuffled back. Not to the lead, but he's got to hustle out of the gate to ensure he's not shuffled back.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joel. Joel's inside drawn. He should have a lot of options. Obviously, get him to break and try. You want him forwardly placed. He doesn't. He shouldn't make the lead. I think that would be absurd.
No. He should not make the lead.
He should not make the lead. But he's going to be in that first flight, right? The first, I would imagine, 6 or 8 horses. Forwardly placed, and but I honestly, I think that Louisiana Derby shows you he can be versatile. So I think Joel can do whatever he wants with them. If I have to be a little further back, I'm not worried about it. If he has to be a little more forwardly placed, just due to he breaks and goes, if he ends up 2nd or 3rd, I'm really not concerned. I think. I think he has a million options with him. I don't think he has to have a certain trip. It's a very versatile horse, and I think Joel has a ton of options.
Tomcat, Steve won today, by the way.
Yeah, he had a win today.
Yeah, I did see Ed DeRosa got a little bit of flack for posting that.
Dude, it was good. It was good,
pretty
though.
Funny. Yeah. But he's I mean, it's true. Like, it was just like, I don't know if you guys ever heard the Jason Beam story where like he used to have to, I forgot if it was one of the tracks out west that he was announcing at. And I think he had mentioned something that this trainer and owner like hadn't won in like 2 months or something. And like he got a phone call, like, why are you disparaging? Like, why are you talking bad about this trainer?
That's
it's like, I'm like, it's the odds. Like, it's just the odds at Portland Meadows, it might have been, because I think that's where he was announcing. But it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of horse racing people are thin-skinned, but it is what it is. Is anybody not like Epicenter?
He's my single A.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to be using him equally with White Barrio. So.
I'm not single A to him. I cashed doubles to him and Taiba and White Barrio and Smile Happy, but it's one of those things where Epicenter's interesting, but I could not come off of the FU to horse racing from Taiba, and I think Taiba is going to be loaded tomorrow. Sorry, it's not good for racing, but it just feels like it.
And then Caleb, I mean, you got anything really different here? Any horses that we haven't really talked about that you're going to be using?
Not really. I mean, I guess just to address Tom Cat's point, I know there's a lot of hype, or not hype, but conversation around Asmussen in Kentucky lately. He had a winner today, actually, in the next to last race. I'm pretty sure it was the 4-horse.
I should talk in I should talk in capitals. By the way,
you should talk in caps. Yeah.
Oh yeah. At any rate, yeah. So
I ruined his train of thought. I'm sorry, Caleb.
no, you're good. No one else here for me, Josh. Epicenter is my only A. I also like White-Abario, who you've already talked about, and I guess opposite of you, I'll probably will have something through Messier, just because he is one of probably the top 2 to 4 horses in this race, depending on how exactly you look at the speed figs and whatever else. I mean, I know he got beat by Tabo last time, but he also sort of did all the dirty work up front. He was pressing Forbidden Kingdom, who was a very fast horse, who lost his epiglottis. He was kind of, just, I'm not going to say he wasn't cranked for that race, because I don't know if I believe that, but I think that as soon as Velasquez knew he was beat, he kind of wrapped up the horse and just kind of let him coast in. So I'm not sure the margin of victory is totally representative. And to me, I think just the difference in experience could make a difference in a race like the Kentucky Derby. Messier is very seasoned. He's had 6 starts. He's never missed the exacta. If you throw out those low-sal races where he just doesn't really seem to show up with quite the same level of effectiveness, then he's basically has all wins except for 1 second to tie by last time out. So I don't think the horse really cared for the low-sal, bull ring, tight turns configuration. He was beaten by Tabo last out, but I don't know that I expect Tabo to repeat that performance in this kind of an environment. Whereas I trust Messier a lot more to run his race and to be a little more consistent. So for me, I mean, I could easily see Velasquez getting aggressive out there and, get out there, sit just off the pace setters, and then, give the other middle finger to horse racing when everyone bets Taba, but the other Baffert actually wins.
Yeah, so DJ asking if Messier could have possibly sandbagged when Taiba won. But they both needed the same amount of points, right?
Given the Baffert's horses couldn't earn points, they did both need the same amount of points. But I do sort of think it's very likely that, Yak Team or whoever says, listen, I mean, if Taba comes up on you or vice versa, like just kind of, coast in, like you don't need to win the race. So that's kind of my point.
He was probably told you go 1-2, you both make the Derby game.
Yeah, when he thought he was
don't beat your horse up, coast it in. Yeah, like we don't need to, we don't need to win. Just go top 2. And I don't care, kind of a thing.
Right. That's what I said a little bit ago. If you go back and watch that replay, Velasquez only went left-handed 3 times, and he stood up at about the 200-yard mark.
Yep. Isn't that the California crop rule, though? 3 times left-handed? That's it?
Well, the first one was like at the end of the turn, so he had time to get the horse to respond, so he was all right. The $400 fine would not have hurt him.
Ben Wilkie saying Messier couldn't beat Slow Down Andy. That was at Low Sal, but
again, I think Low Sal form, so it doesn't hold up here.
I don't think Charge It beat Fast Up Andy.
Yeah, Chapel Hill saying Desert Dawn raced the same day as Messier and Taiba. Fig was 87 and 1. She finished 3rd today at Secret Oath and got a 94 buyer today. So kind of backed up that Fig. I know that there was some talk. I think Caleb or Mark, one of you guys told me about this.
That would be me.
Was it you? About the there was some question about the Santa Anita figs being too fast, possibly, and the Florida ones being too slow. I think Andy Beyer came on, went on Bick or something, was talking about it. But it looks like Desert Dawn came back and
it was New York was too fast.
New York was too fast.
New York was a little too fast, yeah. And Desert Dawn was also working very, very well. That was one of the works horses in that race that I thought would significantly outrun its odds, and I mentioned yesterday on the stream.
Yep. And then Brian, you're on your long shot there, and you're on Taiba, White-Abario, and Epicenter.
Yeah, I mean those are the most likely horses for me. I would love to be all over Cyberknife here, I just can't do it. Not from out there.
Hey, Brian, good question here, because you do this. You talk. I think you talk about company horses keep more than the rest of us. Do you move Cyberknife up, given what Secret Oath did today? I think obviously we were all beating up in these Arkansas races, but maybe that race was a lot better, and maybe obviously Cyberknife appeared to not handle the Louisiana track that well, or the Fairgrounds track didn't, and the Comte. Is there a chance that either he is getting better, or does maybe that fig a little light out of the Arkansas Derby?
I had said that originally because if you guys think back a few weeks ago, I thought that Brad Cox was protecting Cyberknife. He put Zozos in the worst spot. So I thought maybe Brad thought that that Cyberknife was the better horse here. I would love to move Cyberknife up, but I hate the hole from 16 for Cyberknife. You've got Classic Causeway right next to him. You've got White Barrio inside of him. This is a horse that can't make his own trip, so to speak. He's not fast enough to get the lead. He doesn't have a fast enough late kick. This is one of those horses that, unfortunately, I think is just going to be an also ran come Derby Day.
Okay. Trifecta, superfecta horse, I think.
No, I don't even have him there. I think he's outclassed and outpaced here.
I don't know. There's definitely like at least 10 horses, if not more, I like way less than Cyberknife in the spot.
Well, let me ask you this, because
his last work was also freakish. So he apparently they loved his work. So
you said trifecta, superfecta horse. If I'm gonna start talking about trifecta, superfecta horse, now I want Mo Donegal, I want Zenden, and I'd much rather have those two charging in the lane than I would Cyberknife trying to hold on for fourth or third.
No, we already said that we don't want to charge it in the lane in the superfecta.
Well, I said charge it. I meant Mo Donegal. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically, I got 3 horses. I'm going to be using White Barrio and Epicenter equally, and then I will also be using Taiba, just because I've seen this story before. And yeah, I'm not gonna get real cute with this. There's a couple of horses that I would like to use for like trifectas and supers, but I think it's the horses everybody already knows, like a Barber Road or who else was I looking at? Pioneer Medina. Some people have been talking about. I know. Why am I blanking? Time Form US guy.
Craig
Mikowski.
Other one.
Mikowski.
The other one. David Aragona.
David does that one.
Sorry, David. David really likes Pioneer Medina. He thinks that this could be definitely an underneath type. I like Tiz the Bomb a little bit underneath, but I mean, as far as on top, I think it's just those 3 horses. So, anything else here you guys want to talk about?
Do we need to talk about the Japanese horse?
I mean, do we really want to talk about the Japanese horse? Because I feel like everyone's already talked about the Japanese horse. I told
like 15-1 at this rate.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about the Japanese horse.
We lost Unoho, so now everybody has to have their meme horse, and that's the Japanese horse who's going to go off at a takeout reducer, right?
I've said that the Japanese horse would be a great story, and like I wanted to bet the Japanese horse and I wanted to win, but the thing is that I just think this isn't like Master Fencer or whatever that other horse that came across a couple. I think this is a legit horse. I just don't think that this is it.
Snow
Thunder.
Thunder Snow.
Thunder Snow is not Japanese though, was he?
Yep.
Sure was.
I thought he was.
No, Thunder Snow was the Japanese horse that won the Dubai Prep.
Yep.
I am gonna say that
I'm pretty sure he wasn't Japanese. I think he was Godolphin.
I thought he was Japanese.
I could have swore he was Japanese.
I thought he was.
And
I'm pretty sure he was Ireland bred. Yeah, Ireland. Yeah, by Darley.
By Helmet out of Australia by a Great Britain mare, trained by Saeed bin Saror, owned by Godolphin.
Guys, I don't mean to distract you for a minute, but I'm watching Andrew Champagne play Champion Jockey right now on Twitch.
Yeah, I know. I saw him message on Twitter that he was going to be playing some Champion Jockey.
I've got it on. He's coming down the stretch. He looks like I read.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us. It's a long day just in general with Oaks Day today. So good luck to everyone tomorrow. As usual, you can go ahead and see our stuff on thewronglead.com. Follow us at wrong_lead. We got our stuff here, our Twitter's here. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you guys sitting here and watching. Yeah, we'll be live next Thursday. I know, Brian, I think you said you're going to be gone. I already reached out to our friend Ryan Dickey, and he's going to be joining us, and we're going to be covering the Belmont card. Someone called it Peter Pan Day, but let's be honest, it's not Peter Pan Day.
It's Man of War Day.
It's Man of War Day.
So, I feel better if Mark calls it Peter Pan Day and Caleb calls it Man of War Day. I'm okay with that.
Because Mark doesn't want to grow up?
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, we'll catch you guys later.